Good afternoon. I am Joe Huck, and the Tennessee Titans have been making some deals today on this first day of legal tampering in the NFL. They've agreed to terms with Ben Jones, bringing him back. It is a 2-year deal worth $14 million. They have also re-signed Jeff Swaim, actually giving him a 1-year contract extension, but hey. And the Titans have also said that they will not tender offensive lineman David Quisenberry. Now, when it comes to college basketball, I know the AP poll doesn't matter anymore because it's all about the tournament, but Tennessee has moved up 4 spots to number 5. And in Major League Baseball, this may most likely be the end of Freddie Freeman's time in Atlanta, as the Atlanta Braves and the Oakland A's have entered a deal to trade Matt Olson, the first baseman from Oakland, to Atlanta for the Atlanta Braves' number 1 and number 2 prospects. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans, and home to 3HL. This is 104.5 The Zone.
On a busy Monday in Nashville, Tennessee, 3HL on 104.5 The Zone, where legal tampering has begun. Tennessee has broken a curse, and the Titans have brought back some key pieces. Alongside Don Davenport to my right, 7-year NFL veteran Chris Williams in the building with us today.
building.
I am Will Boling. Somebody's got to say the in the building.
I know. Slay's not in the building, but we can still in the building for him.
Do I play the intro?
The energy will still be brought.
See, this is exactly why I need my own damn intro. We don't have Slay here. We don't have an intro.
I don't know what to do.
I know.
The energy will still be brought. Chris Williams, welcome, my friend.
Hi.
Hey guys,
How are ya?
I'm great. I'm super excited to be here. Can we get Dawn an intro? She needs an
See?
intro.
Okay, he's in.
Don Davenport.
Well done. Yes.
There you go.
No, you're supposed to be 5'7",
5'7",
starting at
I think I could do this
Libero.
one.
97
I need to get with Rhett.
pounds. Is that good? Is that good?
Oh,
Is
you
that
just
good?
nailed it.
There we go.
Thank you.
Sitting directly to the left of me and to the right of Will Boling.
There you go.
Don Davenport.
From Auburn University.
Yeah.
Man,
It just doesn't hit the same.
No,
they didn't have they're still starting lineups for volleyball.
Well, yeah, but
At Libero. Did I say that right?
so
Libero.
that is a huge conversation that we're not going to have today because nobody really cares. But
that looked like a
it's
sticking
Libero.
point. She
Yeah,
seemed
right.
like a little bothered by that.
I am. Technically, it's Libero, but a lot of people say Libero. So
Okay.
back when I played, it was defensive specialist because they
Yeah,
didn't
right.
even have the fancy position name for it. So
These
which
are
just means I'm old.
these are things for me to file away, for Hunk to file away, and we'll get Rhett Bryan. We'll make you an intro.
There you go.
These are things that are going to happen.
So Chris Williams, for those that don't know you and, didn't get to follow your career, kind of fill everybody in. This is a perfect day to have you here, by the way, after, a 7-year NFL career. You know all about free agency, all of this. So I'm excited to kind of hear about your experiences, but fill everybody in. You are, in fact, a Vanderbilt Commodore.
That's right. I don't even feel worthy kind of to share my story today because we got so much, free agency news. But I played here at Vandy. I was a starter for 3 years and was all conference and that stuff. Got drafted in the first round in 2014. Played 7 years between Chicago and St. Louis and Buffalo. And me and my family live here in town, well, north of town, and we've been around here for a while. We love it here. So I love Vandy. I'm not going to mention Tennessee right now because, we're on a high. But I love Vanderbilt. We'll leave it at that.
I like it.
There we go.
Hey.
See, this is nice. Usually in that chair is
Yeah, I'm looking at this
orange-colored glasses.
You got an orange and white
Yeah.
shaker
There's
to
a
your
lot
left.
of orange in there.
Yes,
You gotta
there
get
is.
some
That would be
Vandy
the
stuff,
Ron
man.
Slay effect.
The Ron Slay and Ramon Foster sits in that chair as well. So we've got
Oh, my God.
we've got a lot of NFL experience that sits on that side of the studio.
Yeah, no, Ramon's a great guy, great player. Ryan was a great player too, but it's a lot of orange. You guys got to get some black and gold in here, man.
All right.
There you go.
Just saying.
Maybe we'll let you decorate the studio for Slade for when he gets back.
I didn't even think I should have brought some hats. Something,
Yeah.
left them something like let them know I was
like
here.
National Signing Day in here with all these different college hats out here.
Let's fix that. Yeah.
No, hey, I appreciate anybody though that has called this city home from a sports perspective, and obviously the time you played here in Nashville, like you've seen the city grow up, you've seen Vanderbilt Athletics undergo the makeover they're undergoing now under new leadership with Candace Lee, with Clark Lee, with all the different aspects of that. But I've grown up in this city. It's cool. I know from my perspective to see how the city has changed, but I'm sure you can speak on that too of how much this city has grown up since you played here.
Oh, it's nuts. Even just driving around, getting to campus, everything's so different. The skyline's different. There's like 100 cranes out there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's such a neat place, and from an investment standpoint, it's been great to own a home here and that type of thing. And my kids going to school here, and I love Nashville. I'm from Louisiana originally, but I love it here. This has always been our home since I got drafted, and to see Vanderbilt making the changes they got coming up with the athletic facilities and the success of the baseball program and trying to get football back on track and basketball, it's exciting. Nashville's a very lively place to be,
No doubt. So where do we even begin today?
Lots of news.
There is a lot of different ways that we could begin this, but I feel like we should start with the greatest guy to play the sport. Tom Brady is back, ladies and gentlemen. What is it?
Didn't take long.
40 days and 40 nights. He wandered in the wilderness of retirement. And now Tom Brady is back. 7-time Super Bowl champ, of course. He says that he has unfinished business. And guys, maybe the biggest surprise to me here is that he is back, and he is back with Tampa.
Mm-hmm. And you thought maybe there would be some kind of movement there. Just there were small rumors floating around that there was an issue, or I guess different viewpoints with Coach and Brady, and that maybe they disagreed a little bit on certain things, which I think you would probably expect with a guy like Tom Brady, who's pretty opinionated and been around for a while, right? But yeah, so that was the part that really surprised. Well, and the fact that it's only been 40 days. Like, I guess people out there that have kids and wives are probably like, I get it, like for so long, this probably because for so long, like wife and kids kind of exist. I don't want to say it without you guys as professional athletes, but I mean, there's a lot that there's probably a routine, and they're used to having to share you.
Well, Tom Brady, he looks like he's like a 1 day off, maybe a 1 week off type of guy.
Right.
So he's been home for 40 days, which is 30-something days too long. And Giselle's like, what are you doing here? It's like, what? Either that or he was pouting. So he's walking around the house pouting like, oh, I'm gonna do, am I gonna do TV? Am I gonna do this? And or option 3 is he got a TV travel schedule and was like, well, I'm gonna be gone all the time anyway, so I might as well play.
Yeah. I might as well hit my 45-year-old mark.
He was in England over the weekend.
Yeah.
He was at a Manchester United Tottenham game.
I saw that.
Watching Cristiano Ronaldo, and there was a video of Ronaldo saying, so you're done, right? And then you can't hear Brady's response as he's laughing.
I will say this about Tom. Most of us get retired at some point. Either you have an injury or you get old or your skill level's not there anymore. It's different being there in a position as an older player where it's like you're still good enough to contribute. He's still – because I remember sitting there and feeling like I could still contribute to a team. And this guy, he's like he could still be leading the team possibly to a championship. And that's a tough pill to swallow sitting at home. It's one thing to be like you blew your shoulder out or how when Peyton retired his neck was messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
You just kind of you're out, but he can still go.
Well, yeah, shoot. He was in the MVP talk last year.
Yeah.
Led the league in passing yards, touchdowns, completions, and attempts.
And it's like Gretzky told Whitworth, it's like, hey, man, you ain't going to get this back. There's nothing that's going to even get close to this feeling of being in this locker room competing for a championship. So if he's got it, why not?
It's interesting because A.J. Brown made this point on Twitter yesterday because the day Brady retired, A.J. Brown said, I don't think he's done.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
I love A.J. Brown on Twitter.
Oh, it's fantastic.
He is such a it's fabulous.
I think people in this fan base.
I'm not sure the Titans would agree with me on that point, but
it's funny because like A.J. Brown will tweet like song lyrics. And Titans fans like, oh my gosh,
What does that mean?
He doesn't want a new contract in Nashville. Like, what? This is like a Gunna song. Like, stop, do less. But he said yesterday on Twitter, he went back and retweeted himself the day Brady retired when he said, I don't think he's retiring, and said, Brady will not quit until the game quits him. Yeah. He's not going to quit the game until the game tells him you can't do this anymore. And the dude was probably the MVP last year outside of Aaron Rodgers.
And that's most players want that. Most players are not going to quit until the game quits them.
Yeah.
And Brady's just in a very unique situation. And I don't have Twitter, but I do get a lot of tweets, you know. So and we were laughing at that the AJ Brown responding to Christian Kirk's contract, which is pretty funny. So
AJ Brown about to get paid.
Yes, right.
Yes.
That's right.
And he knows it.
And we've got that coming up on the show because the Jacksonville Jaguars have done a very Jacksonville Jaguars thing today. There's no other way to describe it, but they have handed a receiver that's never had 1,000 yards in a season, and Christian Kirk, possibly $21 million a year with incentives. Insane. Just one of the many topics we want to get to today. Chris Lowe of ESPN.com coming up at 3:45. Tennessee has broken a 43-year streak. I was down there in Tampa yesterday. I still can't believe that actually happened because I've been to a lot of Tennessee SEC tournament games that did not go the way the one did yesterday.
I was thinking about that because, I called high school basketball with Slay this weekend, and I'm like, man, Slay, it's been since 79.
Like, I wasn't alive for most things that have happened in the world, but like no one was. There are a lot of people that weren't alive
Slay
for that
was not born yet.
Yeah.
Like, that's how, and I was like, man, Slay, I can't believe how many good teams, good basketball teams had gone through Tennessee, and it's been that long since they won an SEC title. Like, if you just start to think back and go through some of those teams, I mean, obviously the Ron Slay years too, you know? Yeah. And man, that was shocking to me.
I think
that it was 79.
They've had the SEC Player of the Year 5 times since their last SEC tournament championship.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it had been that long. And then it's funny because, like, our Tennessee fans, are they going to be against it coming back to Bridgestone? Like, no, let's stay in Tampa. We don't want the SEC tournament.
Worked out
to
okay.
Bridgestone.
How was the crowd? Like, fill me in. I'm sure that it was. I mean, let's be honest. The blue wave travels everywhere, right? Yeah.
There were more Kentucky fans at the game yesterday than there were Texas A&M fans.
I believe that.
And it wasn't even close.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Now, were they cheering against Tennessee?
Well,
I'm assuming.
The median age of those fans is probably in the 70s, so I think they were just sitting there watching basketball.
So they weren't cheering.
They were literally just sitting there with their arms crossed, like
pissed off that Kentucky wasn't there.
Who are we going to get in the first round? Kentucky's not here. Like, they're just mumbling under their breath.
Oh, that's so funny.
Coming up, though, let's dive into what the Titans have done so far today. One member of the offensive line has a new home, and one member of the offensive line is back. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because I think the Titans have made one message about the future of that group with the moves that they have made so far. Chris Lowe coming up at 3:45. We got Buck Reising coming up in the final hour at 5:30. Lots to get into, or you can join us at 615-737-1045. It is 3HL 1045 The Zone.
The Home Loan Expert just had an amazing contest out there against the corporate lenders, 93-19. Now, Coach, what are your thoughts?
Today we put it all on the court. Great work, great loan options. All that hard work paid off for us.
Darius, amazing performance. You were getting rates that nobody else could touch. How'd you do it?
Honestly, we're really coming together as a team, and our process is always streamlined. That's why we take 21 days to close.
Coach, any final thoughts?
Go with the lender who's outplaying the rest. Get started today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
3HL on 104.5 The Zone. Alongside Don Davenport, 7-year NFL veteran Chris Williams, former Vanderbilt lineman, hanging out with us today. Deserved a couple days off for the mayor and for Ron Slay as well.
Yeah, it's spring break.
Yeah.
Wilco spring break. They're
That's
all
right.
at the beach, smoking cigars, drinking whiskey.
The airport was packed
Oh, I bet.
yesterday
Yeah.
at like 4 a.m. to go to spring break.
Yes. It's basketball time. I think, our station's broadcasting live at Hooters
This is true.
Yes.
from noon to 2. Hunk, sorry, you have to be in this building with us.
I know.
Yes, on Friday, 104.5 The Zone on Friday is broadcasting live from Hooters, noon to 2. Time for basketball, so it's time for Hooters with all the big games on all the big screens. No better place to catch the whole tournament. Come in, cheer your team on, order up your favorites, killer watch party. Here's the website if you want to find out where to go, hootersonthefly.com. I want to say Slay is going to be back and be there, but I don't know for sure.
I think that might be right.
I think I'm right.
Tennessee playing
I'll text him.
Thursday, 1:45 Central against Longwood. We'll get to that with Chris Lowe coming up here in a minute at 3:45. But first, the Titans making a couple of moves today. And the big one for the Tennessee Titans, Ben Jones. 2 years, $14 million. He's only missed one game since 2014. And per Ian Rappaport, he is back.
Durability, baby. I mean, we talk about it all the time in the NFL. Your best ability is availability, right? They've showed that with Harold Landry too, and signing him to a big deal. But I was actually surprised because I feel like Ben Jones is always battling some kind of something small, But the guy is just always there for you, always plays, and I felt like that was an important one to tie up. And you might be able to speak to this better, Chris, because I know it might surprise some of you, but I've not been in the trenches of an NFL game. But that position, when you look at what the Titans are offensively and who they have, and we talk so much about chemistry when it comes to teams as a whole, but how important is that? Ben Jones, the center, to have that stability, a veteran guy at that position, and someone who knows Ryan Tannehill well and who knows this offense well. How important is it at that position and on that line?
Oh, I mean, it's extremely important. He's the quarterback of the offensive line, so he's running the show, making the points, getting everybody lined up, and with letting Roger Saffold go, and it seems like Taylor's going to be back, but you're going to be bringing on at least one young player. Mm-hmm. Probably going to be sticking in between Ben Jones and Taylor. So having a veteran presence there at center allows a level of continuity, especially like what you got with him. He hadn't missed a game since 14. We're probably jinxing him right now.
I know, right?
He hadn't missed a game since 14, so it's like your best ability is availability and consistency, especially at any position of football, especially offensive line. You don't care if a guy is good, bad, better, worse. You just want him the same all the time.
Right.
So
that you know what you have.
You know what you got.
Yeah.
So they know what they got with Ben, and it's it was 2 years, $14 million or something. So It's probably 1 year, $7 million deal. Not cost you a ton of money, and now it keeps you from having a rookie or a young center and a rookie and young guard next to each other. Then you got problems up the middle. So
yeah, and you mentioned Saffold being gone too.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it as well. It's so funny because all year long we were like, oh yeah, this will be Lewan's last year. He's probably gone. Now it looks like they'll probably get something done and he's good to go there. But you went to the combine, so there was a lot of talk about this Titans offensive line. Because let's be honest, Harold Landry stays. Bud Dupree's going to be a year healthier. Defensively, you know what you have, and it's kind of like run it back, right? But on the offensive side of the ball, it's, need a receiver, need a tight end, what's going on with the offensive line. And so that was a big talk at the combine as well. And to have Ben Jones back, to most likely have Lewan back, then there was talk about Dylan Radins, and it seems like they're pretty confident in his ability and what he can do. And Roger Saffold's gone.
I think that's the biggest message the Titans have sent so far in free agency is that they believe Dylan Radins can start for them at either left guard or right tackle this season.
Right.
David Quesenberry is non-tendered
what I
by the
was gonna
Titans.
say.
He's not back.
He gone.
And I think as far as the Ben Jones number is concerned, I was surprised it's only $7 million a year after Ryan Jensen went back to Tampa Bay last night at 3 years, $39 million.
Which was a discount, too.
Yeah.
They thought Jensen could have got a little more in the open market, but losing Lamb, losing Saffold, they like Radins. A.J. Blazek over at Vandy coached him up in North Dakota State. So he told me, he's like, he's a good player. He's going to be a good player. He works hard. But I thought they would keep Saffold and get rid of Lawan, with Saffold coming off a Pro Bowl year. But he's had some ups and downs injuries-wise this year, but he's probably been their best lineman since he got here.
And
So,
we love
Yeah,
Saffold on this show
Oh, yeah.
because he would do our Buffalo Wild Wings shows with us every single week. But to your point about the injuries, it would be the middle of the game, and he was pretty honest about it during the year with us at least. But he had some kind of nerve issue going on to where if it was hit just right, he would lose all feeling in one of his arms. I mean, it's kind of hard to block when you have no feeling in one of your arms, right?
You get those stingers, man, and they come, and he tried to deal with it and battle through it. And I know he's going to have a great season this year in Buffalo, and the Titans will miss him. But at the end of the day, it's not personal. It's a numbers game. They got to fit, like you said, your defense. You want to run it back with that defense. You got to try to figure out how to fit the numbers in there. You paid Derrick Henry a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not have the best offensive line when you're running back making good money. That window on the offensive line looks like it's about close because they didn't tender Kessenberry either, did they?
Right.
So he's gone too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long, because there's going to be a gelling period, but how long that takes, it's going to be interesting to see.
You said basically the Titans' message with what they've done today, and they signed Jamal Jones from Seattle, who kind of can play up and down that line, right?
Yeah. And you get a little bit of versatility there. I think this is your Jamarco Jones, his name.
Jamarco,
the kind of the swing tackle, Kendall Lamb replacement.
Yeah.
When you look at the snaps that he's played at different positions, 21 snaps at left tackle, 99 snaps at left guard, 10 at right guard, and 33 snaps at right tackle. Mike Vrabel loves versatility for his starters, obviously, but when you are trying to be in that backup role and trying to fill in at a lot of different spots, I mean, this is a guy, Jamarco Jones, who filled in at left guard against the Titans last year for the Seahawks for a couple of snaps. The versatility, that's what lands you on a roster like the Titans.
Yeah, and the Titans they're going to need a young player to step up. They're going to have to hit a draft pick, unlike Isaiah Wilson, which is part of the LaWine plan, right?
And that's still hurting you at this point. Too.
Right.
Why you got to bring up old stuff?
Or at the end of the day, the offensive line coach got to earn his money this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't got a room full of veteran guys that have played a bunch. It's like, you're going to have to earn your money this year, buddy.
What do you think the meltdown will be from Titans fans if they draft an offensive lineman in the first round?
If they stay at 26, I'm just preparing you people now that it's going to be an offensive lineman. Zion Johnson out of Boston College. If that dude is there at 26,
oh yeah, he's an animal.
That is the draft pick.
You can't miss on all of them, right? Question mark.
Oh my gosh! Back to the Ben Jones jinx.
Man.
Come on, Chris.
It was, and looking at Jim Wyatt and the mock draft roundup that he put out today of everybody else's mock drafts this week, a lot of those still have the Titans taking a center and Tyler Linderbaum. Well, that's not going to happen anymore.
That's not happening now. They made their choice there.
I feel like the bet that they made from where they're picking at 26, you're more likely to get a guard at 26, or if you trade back middle, second round, even in the third round, you're more likely to get a third round guard that's plug and play than you are a left tackle that is plug and play based on where you are picking. And so they picked the value in the draft capital of it's easier to replace the interior guy versus Lawan, who got a pretty big contract a few years ago that doesn't look that big anymore. I know he said that when he was on with y'all on this show.
That's exactly what he said. He's like, look now, I'm actually a decently priced left tackle. Lawan's so funny. He's so honest nowadays. He
is a master salesman for himself.
Yes.
But he's a salesman for the city. I mean, like that dude, when Brett asked him, like, how hard would it be for you to play another jersey? He just said, I don't think I could. I mean,
Which probably is a lie.
Probably
but,
is
you
a
know.
lie.
I
But,
think
you know.
he could. They all fit the same.
but he's
put it on.
smart at the way he spins that to say, look, this is where I want to be. And,
Yeah.
it's easier to stay within the same system. That's the only system he's ever known in the NFL than
Yeah.
starting over from square one somewhere else.
Able to grow up here, too.
They send your pads with you. You know,
Right.
you figure it out.
All right.
Good way to put
Figure
it.
it out.
Speaking of Buffalo, didn't you finish your career in Buffalo?
I did.
That's
I
it.
did. Orchard Park.
Too
New
cold.
York.
I mean, that's a tough place to play. I know they have a championship roster, and Saffold, I know, is chasing that, but sorry. I guess I should have
Auburn
put my
Tigers
phone on
have
silent,
intervened.
my little Auburn fight song there. But
Can sing half of it.
like, how miserable is it to play in Buffalo? How was it?
It
get
was
used
cold.
to it?
I was on IR by the time the season ended, but it was still my last week in Buffalo. I'd had back surgery, and we got about 8 foot of snow before, like right after Halloween or something.
Oh, gosh.
And my wife's like, we got to get out of here. Like
Oh
I
my
have pictures
gosh.
of my dogs like bounding through this snow. They're like, hey, there's people shoveling snow off their roofs. They're like, hey, you need to make sure that your dryer vents aren't blocked so you get carbon monoxide in your house and your furnace vents, and people dying on the side of the road. Like I ain't never seen anything like this before in my
Oh,
life.
my gosh. That's what. Where did you say you're from originally?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Oh, yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit different.
Other than the world, So
Wow.
it's something I've never seen before, never experienced. But those fans are awesome. They're
Yeah.
nuts. Bill Mafia is nuts. And it's a great home field advantage. It's such driving through a neighborhood, there's a stadium there, it's small town, so they're gonna be a contender this year, I like to think. Josh Allen's a good player. And they, as we see him from the free agency moves, they're building a roster to win now, which is kind of like the Rams thing, right?
Right.
We don't
It
care about
worked.
draft picks. We don't care about the future. We got a 1-year plan this year. So.
And he is going to have a new guard as well, in Roger Saffold, who officially has been signed to a 1-year deal by the Buffalo Bills.
Now.
I want to see what that number is.
Yeah.
The number still hadn't come out yet, but
Right.
I have to imagine he probably took a little bit of a discount to go to a team that good.
Well, it's we talked about this the week of the Bengals game in the playoffs. Especially at offensive line, I'm sure you could speak to this. Like, you're looking for a quarterback that you're willing to protect and that can take you to a Super Bowl
Yeah.
at that point.
Well, good quarterbacks make lines look better. Get
Yeah.
the ball out quick, check out the pressure. And then Aaron Cromer is in Buffalo, who Roger was with in, it was St. Louis Rams at the time. Or
Right.
maybe it was L.A. by then. And so Aaron Cromer's good O-line coach. He's had some weird off-the-field stuff for a coach, but he's a really good offensive line coach.
Okay.
So they're getting reunited, so I know that's good.
So how does like Louisiana Cajun seasoning compared to like authentic buffalo sauce?
It's
Like
just
on wings.
it's a whole nother world,
Okay.
man. But they,
See, now I feel like we got Slay back if I'm talking about wing
Wing
sauces.
sauce? Yeah.
you know, wings are in Buffalo are really good. And it's just these little hole in the wall places
Yeah.
got great wings, but Cajun season is just a bunch of red
different.
pepper. It's a little different.
Yeah.
And it ain't wings, we seafood
You're
at
right.
the house. So
It's like a mix of Nashville hot chicken.
a little bit.
It's like the in between of the both.
yeah.
Maybe
I
not.
mean, I guess maybe a little bit.
I'm just turning myself into a foodie
we can go
here.
with that.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. We'll take it.
There is a quote from Saffold out there that came out about 20 minutes ago. Roger Saffold on signing with the Bills. I think it's because of how close I think they are to winning a championship. So there you go. He wants to be a part of that. And I mean, he's known for a while that he was going to end up as a cap casualty, right? I mean, the Titans saved $10 million
Yeah.
letting him go. So
They knew they were gonna have to change one part of that left side of the line.
Yep.
And that's the gamble they made.
yep.
No doubt. 615-737-1045, our number. We got Chris Lowe coming up of ESPN here in about 10 minutes. And Tennessee has won an SEC tournament. I never thought I would say those words. From 2008 with Sundiata Gaines in Georgia, winning it in the Georgia Tech Arena because of the tornado in the Georgia Dome, to 2009, Mississippi State, the last time it was in Tampa. Jarvis Bernardo, beat Tennessee in 2009 when the Vols were almost a 1 seed. You go back to 2019 where Tennessee goes through the same path. They beat Mississippi State and Kentucky, and then Auburn, the hot shooting team on the other side of the bracket, just runs them out of the gym. They finally figured it out. They finally won an SEC tournament title. I couldn't believe how stress-free that game was.
Well, of course it's stress-free. Texas A&M just played 8,000 minutes of basketball before coming
But,
in.
43 years, Dawn.
Completely dead legs.
43 years I've waited.
You know what you should do? You should thank Auburn.
And those
Katie
games kept
Johnson.
getting earlier and earlier all weekend. They started
Right?
at night.
Yeah, right.
playing
Like they had
noon. They're
less and less time to recover.
50 points, Texas. That's all I got for you. 50.
Right.
I mean, it's like Tennessee gives up 22 points in the first half against Kentucky. They give up 20 points in the first half against Texas A&M. Tennessee is now a 3 seed, not a 2 seed.
Oh, there's so much to talk about. It is bunk.
I think I see your phone lighting.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And I mean, look,
I will give the bunk word on that seeding. Although I have an issue with Michigan even being freaking in the tournament, but go ahead.
Tennessee and Longwood on Thursday. Here's where I fall on this. Tennessee was undefeated against teams outside of Quad 1. They were 10-7 in Quad 1. We are told all year to pay attention to Quad 1 wins. And then Tennessee is seated behind 4 teams as 2 seeds that all had less Quad 1 wins than Tennessee. All because Tennessee had their best player with COVID and couldn't beat Alabama on the road. That was their worst loss of the season, which is a pretty good worst loss of the season against a team ranked 30th by the analytics. Here's the thing, and we're going to get Chris Lowe's thoughts of this here in a minute. I'm over it. Tennessee fans, let's get over the defeatist mentality of, the man is out to get Tennessee again. You just won an SEC tournament for the first time in 43 years. Don't let somebody take that joy away from you just because you should be wearing a different colored jersey in the Sweet 16. That's really the biggest difference of what we're talking about here. Now, a 14 seed has upset a 3 22 times since 1985. A 15 seed has only upset a 2 9 times ever. So other than your first round is a little bit tougher and your second round is maybe a little bit tougher, Tennessee shouldn't be afraid of anybody right now after the way they played in the SEC tournament. I'm over it. They were misseeded. Good teams overcome things like this, and Tennessee is a good enough team to overcome that and still go to a Final Four.
Well, yeah, because it's like if your defense travels, you show up and play ball like you're supposed to play, then 3 seed, 5 seed, 2, you got to show up and play basketball this weekend. So it really doesn't matter at this point. It's like you can complain about the seeding right into a loss if you want to, or just get back to work.
So here's my take on it. I 1,000% agree with Tennessee fans. You got screwed. You shouldn't be a 3 seed. It's bunk, all of it. But look at the bracket. What's my big issue with this bracket? Michigan at 17-14 as an 11 seed, not even in the play-in game. And I know you can sit here and tell me, but Michigan's analytics and stats and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I think your bracket, Tennessee, is a heck of a road. I think from a standpoint of it's a great draw. It's a great draw. And I know you have Arizona as the 1 seed there, but that's down the road. I just think it's an easier road to get there to where you want to be.
Well, you know Michigan's going to come out swinging if you see them. The look that Don just gave me could have
Hold on, I'm
just killed a man.
I'm looking for it. There we go.
Oh, come on.
Thank you.
I think your finger slipped. You hit the wrong one. But, I mean, Colorado State in the second round is probably as good of a 6 seed as you're going to see from the Tennessee perspective.
If Colorado State makes it out the first round.
I was going to say, I bet Michigan, I don't know what the betting line is in that game. I guarantee you Michigan's favored in that game.
Oh, I have it. Stand by.
Because I saw where Tennessee would only be a 5.5 point favorite against Michigan.
I know.
I don't
agree.
That. I don't get that one at all.
Hang
the only
on.
thing, if I'm Tennessee, the only thing I'm worried about outside of Arizona is Sister Jean in Loyola.
Oh, gosh.
Good thing Ron's not here.
It really does sound like Ron Slay in there.
Slay basically put himself into purgatory, saying that he did not care for Sister Jean anymore, and that is one thing that Ron Slay and I have in common. I'm over her.
She's coming.
7.5
Michigan's favored
is the line.
7.5. Wow.
Hammer Colorado State
Here.
there. Thank you. 615-737-1045 the number. 7.5. That's interesting.
It's a pretty big number.
Not absolutely. Let's get a quick break. Let's get Chris Lowe's thoughts on this. His initial reaction to Tennessee's draw, plus how you bet on or not bet on in your brackets. the other SEC teams. And Kentucky has got a very interesting matchup that is going to make the Bluegrass State a very contentious one over these next couple weeks. Chris Lowe, coming up
Committee
next.
loves the storylines.
3HL 1045 The Zone.
Twitch, please. All right, we know it's getting harder and harder to get whatever you want these days. You got supply chain issues, you got backups, you got lead times. Well, luckily, getting the exact car that you want is still an option. Two Rivers Ford. They can custom order any new Ford for you. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you want a Bronco. Maybe you are going with an Escape. Doesn't matter. Any color you want. Any available features, Two Rivers Ford will order it for you, have it delivered to your door when it's manufactured. If you're super busy, this is an easy way to get the car that you want and need. They also have new vehicles arriving on the lot almost every single day, one of the largest selections in the state. So if you want someone at Two Rivers Ford to contact you to be on the lookout for one of the vehicles you want, just let them know. Salespeople don't work on commission. That's what they do. They're awesome. Two Rivers Ford is there to help make things as easy as possible for you. A business that's been locally owned for almost 40 years, they will treat their customers right. I've heard from a lot of you that have bought cars from my friends at Two Rivers Ford, and that's exactly what you've said. So for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealer around. It's my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
3HL 104.5 The Zone.
What is this? Our Chris
Feel
Lowe
like I'm in
intro or
a
something?
really
Hunk?
He requested it.
Feel like I'm in a
I'm
really
sure he did.
feel like I'm in a really crowded bar I don't want to be at. Hearing this
Okay,
song.
old man.
Okay, thank you. Will Boling, Don Davenport, and former Vandy offensive lineman Chris Williams hanging out with you today. We are pleased to be joined on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by Chris Lowe. Talking Tennessee, talking SEC tournament and NCAA tournament as well. Chris, good to talk to you today. How are you?
It's great. It's good to be with everybody. I guess Ramon, Slay, and Brent are sitting on the beach now, smoking cigars.
Yeah.
Probably partaking in adult beverages.
This is exactly how Don started the show.
That is exactly how I described what they were doing, CeeLo. You know them well.
Well, they didn't invite any of us, so.
No.
Right.
No. Somebody has to work, you know.
And the cigars were starting for Ron Slay yesterday because Tennessee breaks a 43-year drought. Chris, we've seen, last time the tournament was in Tampa, it was Jarvis Varnado, Mississippi State. You had Sundiata Gaines, beating Arkansas after Chris Lofton misses a shot in 2008. You've got 2019. I mean, we could sit here and talk for an hour about all the different ways Tennessee almost won the SEC tournament. What was the biggest thing that jumped out to you about this run for this Tennessee team?
I think that Tennessee was ready to play every game, and that you never really felt like that the moment was too big for them, or that if they had a little bit of a lull, that you saw any lack of confidence. I mean, they looked like a basketball team from the outset that expected to win that thing. They played that way. Certainly defensively, they've been a juggernaut all year long, but they had answers. Just when it looked like Kentucky might make a run, even yesterday, they had answers from different people, and you've seen different kids grow up. Both the big kids, Adu and Huntley Hatfield have grown up a lot, and Kennedy Chandler. I mean, I know there were some people, I wouldn't say close to him, but maybe people in his camp, and even some fans who were really sort of down on Rick Barnes early in the year. It felt like that he was sort of suffocating him, not letting him play. Well, the reality is, Kennedy will tell you now, and his dad will too, that he came to Tennessee for a reason, because he knew Barnes was going to be unrelenting on him, that he was going to push him, he was going to challenge him, he was going to make him a better basketball player. Well, the version of Kennedy Chandler we're seeing right now, guys, is as good as any. And I think you've seen his maturity and his growth. I think all those things in this Tennessee basketball team, and I agree with what Coach Barnes told his team a few weeks ago, if they play to the level that they played in the last 3 weeks, they can beat anybody in the country.
Well, Chris, a lot of Tennessee fans reacted not happy with the seeding. What is your take on the 3 seed as opposed to a 2 seed?
Well, they got it wrong. First of all, I don't care what lens you're looking through. I mean, any metric you look at, Tennessee's a 2 seed. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they're a 2 seed over Kentucky, over Auburn, over, just about anybody. I don't know about Villanova. I know head-to-head's not supposed to mean a lot, but Villanova spanked it pretty good early in the season. But, Don, I'm not surprised. I'm not just shocked like a lot of people are, because I've long thought that the conference tournaments mean absolutely squat. That committee, and listen, that's easy. They're low-hanging fruit right now. Everybody's beating up on the committee. Tennessee fans are, Texas A&M fans are. Their committee has long had that thing put to bed before the conference tournament got into the second round. I'm talking about the seedings and the brackets. Unless a team, works its way through a tournament and wins a championship to play its way into the NCAA tournament. But that thing is put to bed before the tournament. I don't think anything Tennessee did in Tampa. I really believe Tennessee was a 3 seed, even had they lost in that first game to Mississippi State. If you want to sort of look at the other end of the spectrum, I think they still would have been a 3 seed. Therefore, anything they did, i.e. winning the tourney, didn't help them, which I agree with what Barnes said today. If that's the case, why even play conference tournaments? Yep. Yeah, Tennessee's got a championship. It's awesome. It's their first one in 43 years. But as far as it relating to where you're going to be seated in the NCAA tournament, why even play?
Okay, Chris Williams here. I actually had similar thoughts about Tennessee. I thought they were a 3 seed if they lost the first game. If they won, it didn't matter. I thought they was set. But I'm going to pivot off of Knoxville a little bit, and how do you approach Auburn heading into this tournament, and where do you think they're headed with how they ended their season?
Chris, I still think Auburn's, when their guards are shooting, and they don't have to shoot lights out. When they're just shooting okay, I still think Auburn's got all the pieces to win it all. Now, they did not play their best basketball in the last 2.5 weeks of the season. They had some close wins. They did not play well against Tennessee. They didn't play well in Tampa. But they still got the number one pick in the draft who can score anywhere on the court at any time. And I'm talking about Jabari Smith, obviously. They've got the big rim protector in Kessler, who can block shots. He can rebound. I think they still need him to be a little bit more of a presence offensively. But, Bruce Pearl's teams typically in the postseason have played some of their best basketball. They play fearless. They get up and down the court. They'll get in your grill and play defensively. But are they sort of what they were when they won all those games in a row? Or are they what we saw in the last 2.5 weeks? Because if they're what they were in the last 2.5 weeks, they easily could be bounced early. But I still think just talent-wise and looking at the group that Bruce has put together there, if they play to their capability, they could certainly make a deep run in the tournament.
Yeah, have to have that guard play. Have to. There's a game that Will Boling really wants to talk about, and I don't know, this might be just kind of a, get at Kentucky fans, right? Will, this probably has something to do with it.
Sure.
Yeah, but really, 2 versus 7 matchup between Murray State and Kentucky. What do you think?
Yeah, that's as soon as I saw that, and don't you love how the committee always says, and when I say the committee, I don't mean just this one. They're going back 10, 15, 20, 25 years. They always say, well, we don't look at those storylines when it comes to the way we set up.
Yep.
Give me a break.
Of course they do.
Murray State, Kentucky, that's a matchup made in heaven. You don't think in that state, Murray getting a shot at Kentucky on the big stage is something that was in the back of a lot of people's minds as they put that bracket together. I hope we see that game because Murray State is really a good basketball team. I don't think they'll be intimidated by the Big Blue. Now, you asked me about teams, and I know Kentucky didn't play well against Tennessee. A big reason they didn't play well is because Tennessee got in their grill and they defended them. Mm-hmm. But Kentucky still has everything it takes. They're not going to shoot as poorly as they did from three-point range against Tennessee in the NCAA tournament. They're not going to see many defenses that will defend you out of the three-point line the way Tennessee did. But they're just better players and better shooters. Grady was non-existent in that game. He'll make some shots, but I still think this Murray State-Kentucky potential matchup, has a chance to be one of those games that make the NCAA tournament so magical. The little guy in the state that never really gets a shot at the Big Blue getting a shot in the round of 32. I mean, isn't that why we love the NCAA tournament so much?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. It's funny, Kentucky fans forever always complain that they get the worst draws in the NCAA tournament. The worst brackets, the hardest brackets. That's always you hear from Kentucky fans. And I'm kind of with them on this matchup, though.
Yeah, but you know what? Every fan base. Talk to the Tennessee fan base right now. They're still bemoaning the 3 seed. They have to potentially go through Arizona again to get to the Final Four. Every fan base looks at it and says, man, we've got a tough draw. And the reality is the way the draw looks right now, 2 weeks from now will look completely different because you got to line up and play whoever's in front of you. And the seeds don't matter. I was talking to Chris Lofton last night, the former Tennessee All-American, and we reminded him that, Tennessee just to get out of the first round, back the first time they went when he hit that incredible shot in the corner, they had to beat 15-seed Winthrop.
That's right.
On a last-second shot just to get out of the first round. So it's never easy. You better play well. You better not turn the basketball over. You better hit your free throws. And you better come, as I said, ready to play and not worrying about where you're seated versus where anybody else is seated, or you will get beat. And I think that's, again, the key to the tournament is you better play your best game every single game out, or you're liable to get beat.
Chris Lowe has been our guest here on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline at CLow ESPN on Twitter. Chris, always appreciate the time. We'll talk soon.
Okay, look forward to it. You guys take care.
Thanks,
All
Chris.
right, there is Chris Lowe hanging out with us. That was a Greg Marshall Winthrop team back then, too. I remember where I was watching that game, too. One of the most ridiculous Chris Lofton shots in his career from the corner, near side. Pretty good. When we come back, a couple of big deals have been reported in the NFL while we talk to Chris, plus a receiver that the Titans will have possibly targeted is likely headed elsewhere. We'll tell you about where Jarvis Landry ends up and the two main targets for him. 1 hour down, 2 more to go. It is 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
Well, maybe you want to take a shot on college hoops this March with a risk-free bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you are new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. All customers, every single one of you, get a risk-free bet on your bracket. Sign into the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Claim yours today. If you are new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code DAWN, DAWN, to get in on the action. And then you can bet on maybe that underdog you have had your eye on. Is it Murray State? We just talked about Murray State and Kentucky. Or maybe you just want to go with the favorite. Maybe you just want to go with the Auburn Tigers because you're really smart and you know that they're going to play their best ball coming into the tournament. Not that I'm biased. Either way, it's risk-free. Doesn't matter. And with cash out, the ball is in your court, so you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. No better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Join now with promo code DAWN, or if you already have an account, sign into the FanDuel Sportsbook app to claim your risk-free bet today. If you're signing up, use promo code DAWN. You got to be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit. Expires in 7 days. Max refund $5. Offer is non-transferable. Restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Good afternoon. I am Joe Hunk, and the Titans are already making some moves with this being the first day of legal tampering, and it's been on the offensive line as they have re-signed center Ben Jones onto a 2-year deal worth about $14 million. Now, if you did not know it or not, Titans didn't have any tight ends on the roster because everybody was about to be free agents. They have signed tight end Jeff Swaim to a 1-year contract extension, so he will be coming back. But somebody that's not going to be coming back will be offensive lineman David Quisenberry. Now, we all know about where the tournament seating is, where the Vols are put, and where they're going to be playing. But the AP poll has also come out, and Tennessee has moved up 4 spots to number 5. By the way, the 4 teams in front of them are number 1 spots and number 1 seeds, and everybody behind them is a 2 seed. Just letting you know. College baseball, the Baseball America Top 25 is out. Vanderbilt has moved up 1 spot. They are now number 6 in the country. Tennessee has moved up 2 spots to number 9. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to go visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans, and home to 3HL. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2, 3HL on 104.5 The Zone. Rocking and rolling with you as the legal tampering period begins in the NFL. And the Tennessee Titans start to make a couple of moves. Will Boling, Don Davenport, Chris Williams hanging out with you on this Monday. So far, so good, Chris.
Yeah, it's been great, man. That first hour flew by. So
it's quick.
Let's see. We got more news to cover. We got to keep rolling.
We do.
I love today. I mean,
Easy.
so much NFL stuff. And you learn a lot about certain teams with some of the moves they make or don't make.
And one move that has been made, one of the biggest free agents is off the board. J.C. Jackson, former Patriots cornerback, is headed to L.A. 5 years, $82.5 million deal, $40 million guaranteed. For the best cornerback on the board and arguably the best defensive player on the board. And Chris, the Chargers have a rookie quarterback. They've got a rookie quarterback contract that they can pay other guys with. They've got Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson already added to go along with Bosa on that defense.
Yeah, I mean, for the Chargers, they're like Russell Wilson just rolled into the division, so bolstering that defense. I like Herbert a lot. The Khalil Mack now. The J.C. Jackson thing was surprising. I was surprised in the Pats didn't tag him. And then for them to let him walk with Belichick's defense, I just keep my eye on that. I feel like there's more to that story than we know because you just see young defensive players, young corners, a premium position, walk out of the building and go across the country for a record-setting deal. That just doesn't seem like the move I would make. So I'm wondering if there's something else there, whether it's a character issue or – they like their young guys or whatever it is. I think it'll come out in the rinse for sure.
Well, because when you look at historically how the Pats react with players, and Vrabel has done this here too, that you kind of cut ties with older players before they're done, before you feel like they've hit their kind of moment. But to your point, they will hold on to the younger guys, and so it will be interesting to see what happens with Jackson and why that decision was made in New England.
Yeah, I don't know their cap situation intricately, but when you look at they have a rookie quarterback, there were a lot of problems on that defense last year. He wasn't one of them.
Right.
So with guys like Dante Hightower and stuff that are getting older, Van Noy, I think he's out. And so I don't know. It's just it doesn't smell right to me. It doesn't pass the smell test for him to leave New England and how bad Belichick wants to have a shutdown corner on that defense. I mean, everybody wants one, but they had Stephon Gilmore.
That's his deal. Yeah.
They had Ty Law. They always got a guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep.
The Miami Dolphins have made a couple of moves. Cedric Wilson, former Cowboys wide receiver, intends to sign a 3-year, $22.8 million deal there, but Teddy Bridgewater is on the move.
Okay.
To Miami. Basically,
Backup quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater is the is the safety quarterback now, with Tua Tagovailoa there and a first-year head coach.
Why do you say safety quarterback like
That sucks.
Because they don't have confidence in Tua.
That sucks for Tua. It's like, get a kid a job or not, man. Like,
Right.
You just keep bringing in guys for him to compete with. Like, you either got to hand them the keys or move on. It's just weird. Like, I don't know.
See, it's interesting you say that because that's a player perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I look at it, and a lot of Titans fans talk about it too with Ryan Tannehill, because now I love me some Logan Woodside as his backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That's like the running joke on this show that I'm like the president, CEO, and all of the other offices for the Logan Woodside fan
You
club.
are the Logan Woodside fan.
I guess I am it.
Big fan.
But Titans fans want them to bring in another quarterback to push Ryan Tannehill, want a quarterback to come in that's competition. To which I always say, who are you going to bring in? Because if there's somebody that's available, it means that they're not a starting quarterback,
Yeah, how do you push a guy that you broke the bank for? I mean,
Right.
Tannehill's on. Well, how you going to push him?
Right.
It's like.
Right.
That's his job. Tua's situation is obviously different. He's on a rookie deal.
And he's younger, yeah.
But it's like, how you bring a guy to you put the chips in on Tannehill, you got to ride that one out.
That's your dude.
He's your guy.
You're all in.
I had an interesting conversation with Mike Giannitti of Spot Track on the station a couple weeks ago, talking about that and the second options the Titans could have at quarterback. And at that moment, Russell Wilson was still in Seattle. Aaron Rodgers' future was still up in the air. But his comment was, who gets displaced by where these big guys go? Obviously, Russell Wilson displaces Drew Lock. Well, he goes to Seattle in that deal. So that's not a guy that's an option. But his conversation about that was like Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. Wherever Jordan Love goes, what does he do next if Rodgers stays there for a couple more years?
Right.
Trey Lance, Daniel Jones, guys like Taylor Heineke, guys like that are the fits for the Titans, because you could spin that privately to Ryan Tannehill as, look, we're building for the future here. We've got to bring in a younger guy that can learn under you, when in reality, you're going to be pushed, sure, but it's not like bringing in a guy like Teddy Bridgewater that's been around for a little bit longer of like, okay, this is our contingency plan now.
Right.
If you brought in a younger guy, if you went the Mitchell Trubisky route, who ends up in Pittsburgh, obviously you weren't, with your cap situation, you weren't going to pay him what he was going to have to get paid in order to bring him in, because that's not a luxury the Titans have in their cap situation right now. But I continue to think, who out of those young quarterbacks ends up being an option for the Titans if they don't draft somebody in the third round, in the fourth round?
You have to bring in somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to find a backup somewhere. And from everything I've ever heard, Tannehill seems like a guy who'd be welcoming to really anybody they bring in.
Yeah.
And he'll bring anybody along. He's a great leader from everything I've ever heard. So I don't think that's an issue, but it's like you're already cap crunched and you got all these problems. So bringing in a backup quarterback on $5 million a year, why? And I don't even think, like, it's like Teddy Bridgewater wants to start. So I don't think he went to Miami on the assumption he's the backup quarterback. They're probably like, you don't have a chance to start.
Yeah, 100. You're 100% on that, because he looked at it and said, "Oh, there's a lot of talk that there's unhappiness with your starting quarterback. I'm going to have a chance.
I'm not going down here," because he sat behind Drew Brees down in New Orleans, and then he did the rotating thing with Drew Lock, and this is Teddy Bridgewater, who was like an MVP type candidate before he messed his leg up in Minnesota. So he's trying to get back to old Teddy Bridgewater.
No doubt. One fit the Titans were looking at was with Jarvis Landry, 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. Ian Rappaport reporting today that the Chiefs and the Bills are the two teams to watch for Jarvis Landry. Tell you what, if the Chiefs end up bringing him in, Byron Pringle is probably not going back to Kansas City at that point. That's the price range the Titans could afford, is a guy like Byron Pringle, who gives you a speed option out of the slot that's going to compete as your third or fourth guy. You
got to have a speedy guy.
You do.
Yeah.
You have to. We talk so much about A.J. Brown. You have to. Because there was a lot of talk, okay, if, what's his name? Arkansas receiver. I just blanked. Traylon Burks. If Traylon Burks is available, would you want him? I'm like, no. I want a speed guy.
Yeah.
Like, Burks isn't a speed guy. If I'm a Titans fan, I want a speed guy at receiver to go with A.J. Brown. I think you have to have somebody that can take the top off for this offense to move.
And I don't know where he's at health-wise, but a guy like Will Fuller, if he's healthy, somebody like him that's an absolute block burner. That's what they need.
It's like what Coach Mack says: you need a relay team.
Yeah,
you need a 4x100
right.
at the wide receiver position.
Get a closer.
You've got a lot of third legs of a relay team. You don't have an anchor yet.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Look at your track references.
Yeah,
I'm like, get a closer. You're like anchor. It's called anchor. Yeah. Whatever. By the way, I knew the Jarvis Landry thing would never happen because you remember he talked crap about Ryan Tannehill back in the day when I mean, now granted, Tannehill was not good at Miami, but he also didn't have any weapons or an offensive line when he was at Miami either. So
usually helps.
A lot of fences mended in the interest of championships.
Right?
So.
Isn't that funny how that works? Yeah.
Coming up, there is one guy reportedly that is on the way out for the Tennessee Titans, but a report says that the Titans could end up bringing back a member of their offense that is in free agency right now. We'll get into that next. 3HL. Will Boling, Don Davenport, and Chris Williams with you on 104.5 The Zone.
Start your bracket out with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right. You'll get $150 in bonus site credit. And all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, so much more. Doesn't matter. However you bet is up to you. And with cash out, the ball is now in your court. So you can close out your bet whatever you want to do before the game is over. Join FanDuel today with promo code DAWN, and then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit. Kentucky fans, maybe you want to jump in on the Wildcats. And Tennessee fans, maybe you want to jump in and put a big bet in on the Vols. You can place that $5 bet, score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. That is promo code DAWN, DAWN, on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You do have to be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit. Expires in 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Full terms. Sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Spring is here, and Trey Hartsook from Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply is here to help you get your property looking its best. Trey, how's it going, man?
Hawk, what's going on, dude? Hey, man, Brent's going to have to step it up, dude. That was a good intro, man. So, Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. I know it's about to get crazy, about to get basketball going on, crazy stuff going on in March. The lawn doesn't have to be crazy. At Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, we know what we got worked. So stop in and see us. If you got a lawn, you really want to get it whipped into shape, or maybe a couple years ago you overseen it, looked good, and you just didn't follow up. At Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, we're here to help you have the best lawn in your neighborhood, right? And no need to go into a box store, throw a bunch of money at something that doesn't work. That's not our thing. You come in, get you on a soil plan, get you tested, send that off, get that back, tell us exactly what we need to do with your lawn. So soil testing goes a long way. So that's something that we do at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Stop in and see us, ask about that to get that lawn transformed from a bunch of crabgrass, weeds, stuff you don't want, to that tall PTT Perfresh technology is only available at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. So stop in and see us. Any questions whatsoever, be more than happy to answer them. Turf experts at every single location in Middle Tennessee. Also, let me tell you something about these new machines that we're getting in. It's going to be a great year. Toro's doing a lot of great things. A lot of these machines really look good, but also they perform good, right? And that's kind of what our staple is. We're going to make you look good while you're mowing the grass. You're also going to be able to mow the grass effectively, right? So stop in and see us, ask any questions that you might have. Check us out online, DickensSupply.com.
3HL 104.5 The Zone. It's third down somewhere in Knoxville. So I hear this song. One of the sounds of college for me was Tennessee giving up like a 3rd down and 14 conversion as this song plays right before it.
Isn't that why they stopped playing it?
Yeah. They stopped playing it because they would get killed by teams, but they would continue doing it. Like in the second half.
All my sounds of college are on CD, so.
Yeah. Fair.
Me too, bro. Me too.
What's that? Yeah. What's a CD?
Oh, my gosh.
Kidding.
You know who Brooks and Dunn are, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, Brooks and Dunn. Guess what? They are returning to the road for their Reboot 2022 tour. They're coming to Nashville's Bridgestone Arena on June 18th with Darius Rucker and Tyler Braden as special guests. We have your chance to win tickets. 104.5 The Zone has your chance. Caller number 5 right now, 615-737-1045. If you want Brooks and Dunn tickets, call 3HL. Give Joe Hunk a call right now. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. I love me some Brooks and Dunn.
Very good.
Got them on CD, too.
That's right.
Hunk, that's where we needed Neon Moon again.
Yep.
What's sad is I had it pulled up and I said, no, I'll go with something different.
No,
I did.
You should have done
That was my fault.
Do you know the dance?
My wife and son does. My son, 3 years old, knows the entire dance.
They learn fast at that age. That's what you talk about being in Nashville. Now, before I got to Nashville, you told me I had a Brooks and Dunn CD. I'd have been like, you're crazy. But I never listened to any country music before I got here.
Yeah.
And
Really?
Nashville has that effect on you.
Yeah.
It does. It's changed a lot. It peaked around the time they were still on CDs. Country music.
Oh, absolutely.
Did. Like 2012 or 13, that's when I stopped listening to country music. But Brooks and Dunn, that's the good stuff. So, call Joe Hunk right now.
You really are an old man, aren't you?
No, I am. I'm telling you, Brent always makes fun of me for this. Don always agrees with this. I love baseball, bourbon, sleepy time tea, and I hate being cold. It's
you sleep with a body pillow, don't you?
No, I'm not that bad. But.
And you're also like the get off my lawn old guy too.
Especially
really
in baseball.
The only young thing you like is soccer.
Yeah, it's true.
And
now F1 racing.
Yeah,
that's
Formula
new.
One apparently.
That's as of last week.
You drive a minivan?
I don't.
Okay.
I have a
You
crossover.
do drive a mini SUV.
Yeah. I like
nothing
having
wrong with minivans.
No, yeah. I like having room to
minivans are sweet.
I like to have
you
room.
You probably
to store
have
things.
one. You got 4 kids.
No, my wife refuses to drive a minivan. She's like, I will never drive a minivan. She's an SUV gal. We're truck people, so yeah.
See, that's what my brother said.
But minivans, if you have kids, are built for children. Vacuums and doors that open all that.
They have a vacuum in their minivan.
Yeah, they're
It's amazing.
Yeah, they like a vacuum. You just
Yep.
Wow.
Clean it on up. I need it for my 4 crazy dogs.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
You have 4 dogs?
Yes. We're a blended marriage.
You don't sound excited about that.
Yeah.
Tom.
You know I do commercials for Zero Res carpet cleaning for a reason.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah.
Good plug. So the Tennessee Titans bringing back Ben Jones at center. They make a couple of moves there. Obviously, Roger Saffold gone at the left guard position, but we thought that David Quesenberry was not going to be back, and now possibly that might not be the case. A report just about 25 minutes ago from Terry McCormick saying, per source, Titans will not tender right tackle David Quesenberry as a restricted free agent. However, I'm told that is quite possible. He could be re-signed to a deal more cap-friendly than the $2.4 million of the right of first refusal number.
Yeah. I was saying that book might not be closed yet.
Right.
They might be working something out. So,
Quesenberry started 25 straight games at right tackle for the Titans. Top 10 run blocker in 2021, according to Pro Football Focus. And, of course, everybody knows his cancer survivor story. Right. I mean, he's just a guy you root for. And we've talked a lot about availability and durability on a lot of these Titans signings. So
yeah, that's a tricky part though. Somebody throw some money at him because he played 2 years in a row. Right tackle's a premium position, so but he probably wants to be here because of their offense and his success. So
it's interesting to hear these players, and you can probably speak to your experiences with different teams, but Harold Landry, we had him on after he signed his big deal, and just listening to him talk about the culture in this locker room. And I know that there are a lot of places that have great culture, but there's a lot of places that don't at certain times in the NFL too. And I don't know what your experiences were like, but it seems like a lot of players want to play for Mike Vrabel and want to be here in Tennessee and know that Miss Amy is going to spend money and do the right thing to try and go win a championship for the Titans. You know, she will give Mike Vrabel and John Robinson whatever she's answered this bell, whatever they need to build a roster to have a chance to go win a championship.
Yeah, from everything I've ever heard with the Titans, is Vrabel's a great players coach, as they say. You know, if you watch Titans in the preseason, them guys don't practice hardly.
Right.
They don't play. like their vets
That's
don't
a player's
practice.
coach right there,
They don't
taking
play.
care of them.
It's like, hey, we got 17 games for y'all can do the real thing. You know, and especially since the NFL's went back to the joint practices and training camp.
Yeah.
That's when the Titans, their trench guys, get their work done.
Yep.
In practice, in these joint practices. When they get out their preseason games, they're evaluating young guys. They get to just kind of hang out. So when you see that from the outside, it's like, man, I can just go to a preseason game, wear my hat, and just get ready for the season. And that makes a difference with guys. And he's a straight shooter from everything I've heard, and just his ability to relate to players. He played for a really long time. You know, he knows what it takes. He knows the grind. So he takes care of everybody so they can take care of business. And it seems like from the outside that everybody's motivated to play for him. So I think the Titans got a gym with him. And the more successful a coach is, the more rope he has, and it just allows just less stress. Because when the coach is thinking about getting fired, all that rolls downhill. His staff's under pressure. Everybody's it can make a building real tight real fast.
Yeah.
One name we have not mentioned yet today is Jeff Swaim, who was the first signing for the Titans today. Back on a one-year deal at the tight end position. He spent the last 2 years here in Nashville. 26 games, 24 starts, 40 catches for 293 and 4 touchdowns in his time here. Or that was last season, actually, I should say, for the Titans. I remember everybody being up in arms about him in training camp because the first week the Titans put out their depth chart. All this talk about Anthony Ferkser being tight end 1. Well, then in their base personnel, in their first on-paper depth chart, it was, wait, why is Jeff Swaim a starter? Well, it's because in 12 personnel and the way that they play, your blocking tight end for the Titans is base. And really for pretty much everybody. You know, you've got the second tight end in there that is the blocking guy. I thought this was interesting. Looking back last year at rookie tight ends and the way that they produced, they didn't produce. I remember Tommy Tremble and Brevin Jordan were two guys that a lot of people mocked to the Titans last year in the draft. Middle rounds, probably second, third day. Tommy Tremble had 180 yards last season. Brevin Jordan out of Miami had 178 yards. Pat Freiermuth was the leading tight end, not named Kyle Pitts, because Kyle Pitts doesn't
count.
No. And Pat Freiermuth had 497 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers as an early second. The Titans are going to have to bring back a guy like Jeff Swaim, and they're also going to have to draft one. This is not an either-or situation, and I don't think Titans fans have to be very disappointed with bringing back a guy in Jeff Swaim. This was always going to happen where one of those guys from last season was going to come back and complement whoever else you bring in, probably in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
You'd like to see them replicate the success they had with Jonnu Smith and bring in a young player, develop them, and become a pass-catching threat because they need one at tight end. Swaim's a good depth signing. He's going to be a good blocking tight end for him like he's been. But they need a safety valve in the passing game for Tannehill. And it's like you said, the opportunity to find that in the draft is kind of lacking. But it's just going to depend. They're going to have to find – there's some good free agent tight ends out there. There's O.J. Howard and Ebron. And there's some guys out there that can catch the ball, but – again, you got cap issues, so you're not going to go spend a ton of money on tight end. At least it doesn't seem like it.
You know who's still out there or was still out there?
Who's that?
Cookie.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jared Cook. Seriously, I thought
Cook.
Cookie was done when he left Tennessee. Did you play with him?
Played with Jared in St. Louis.
Dude just keeps trucking along.
Yeah, Cook, man, that dude's invincible. He's been playing forever now. So
crazy.
I'm sure he'd love to be back in that.
I bet he would.
I think of the white helmet and the light blue jerseys, the original light blue jerseys with like the navy on the shoulders and the navy pants. when the Titans were wearing like the light blue on the dark blue as their primary uniform.
Yeah.
That's the jersey I think of Jared Cook in. That's
think
how
of
long
him,
he's been in the
I think
league.
of him. Yeah, that's crazy. I actually think of him in his college gear.
Yeah, well, that's true.
South Carolina
Yeah,
stuff.
South Carolina stuff for some reason. But yeah, I mean, shoot, I think I was still working in local television.
Yeah.
The ABC affiliate when he left, and that was a long time working sports in local television.
right.
So that was a long time ago.
And all those targeting calls, extending careers, I'm telling you.
There you go. There you
Getting
go.
guys out there, pass catching guys.
Yep.
So a couple guys you can take off the board.
For the record,
Yeah.
I'm not saying bring in Jared Cook. Just want to go ahead and point that out.
Hey, if it's a friendly deal, I mean, if you can get him on a 1 year.
You're going to need one more veteran tight end.
He's old.
I mean, so
you can get him on a 1 year.
Draft
like
one.
$1 little above vet minimum, incentivize it. I think you take a stab at it. Assuming there's nothing else out there that you can make,
Right.
It's going to be
He'd
interesting.
probably come back on a deal, I would think.
Yeah.
I would think so.
I think he liked it here.
Two guys that are probably off the board now for the Titans at that position. Zach Ertz re-signed 3-year deal for Zach Ertz. That seems a little long to me for
Off
a guy
the
that's been
board,
around.
really, though? I mean, they weren't going to pay Zach.
No,
Ertz.
they weren't.
Yeah, that's
They
off
weren't.
the board for the Titans.
3 years, $31.6 million, $17.5 million guaranteed per Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport. And a guy, too, that has not signed yet, but says that his future is not tied with Tom Brady's return. It's Rob Gronkowski.
It was interesting over the weekend. There was lots of smoke around Gronk to the Titans.
Yeah. It's interesting because how can he say that his future isn't tied to Tom Brady when the dude came out of retirement to play in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady?
With Tom Brady. When Tom Brady, it's one of my favorite clips of the whole season, when Tom Brady knew that Gronk was one catch away from his bonus and said, hey, let me stay in to make this throw to Gronk to make sure he gets his pay.
Right.
That's why
But he's going to leave him?
That's why they're the GOATs.
That's why I haven't heard anybody who's ever played with Tom Brady say a bad word about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
And he knew that Gronk was one catch away.
Yeah. I mean, look, Tom, I don't know what he's got going on, man. He's some kind of wizard or something. So.
Right.
I don't know. I wonder how many people have called in today asking if the Titans would be interested in a trade for Tom Brady.
Ugh, no, stop. Stop.
Should I not even put that
We're
in the
not
universe?
doing it. Although our number is 615-737-1045. If you do want to call in with something crazy, and we'll tell you that you're crazy, come on.
Just don't say that. I'll hang up on you immediately. I'm not afraid to do these things. No, but I think the tight end position, though, is an interesting one because we mentioned this kind of a little bit in the first hour, but just in grading out those guys at the combine, there wasn't a guy with a first-round grade out of that group. And I think it's a larger discussion about which positions are the premium positions you have to have in the first and which ones are the ones that you can wait a little bit, like the wide receiver position, for instance. The Titans are going to be in the mix for a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, the Byron Pringles of the world that are going to come in and give you the versatility. They're going to give you speed because the Titans don't have to draft a first-round receiver because at 26, the opportunity cost of what you could have in a guard at the first round versus the fourth or fifth, or a tackle even if you wanted to get depth there at 26 or try to get your right tackle. The opportunity cost is higher there than it is at wide receiver. There are a lot of good receivers that are going to be drafted on day 2 and 3 that can be your wide receiver 3 or 4 and be a kick returner. I mean, heck, Velus Jones Jr. at Tennessee. I know I'm biased, but
you're totally biased.
But I've told you too that I'm not as high on him as many people are because he's never had a 1,000-yard season in college. He has not been a big production guy like a Jalen Tolbert at South Alabama that had 1,400 yards last year and had 200 yards on Tennessee and 190 against Coastal Carolina. Like that's a dude that I'm interested in.
Coastal
that you
Carolina's
could get,
defense was terrible.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Still, Jamie Chadwell, Anderson County native for that program. But I mean, you talk about
that's a fun program there.
Coastal Carolina.
Chadwell is doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Oh man, don't bring up Chadwell. The Vandy fans just start calling in. They were all over Chadwell.
I was all over him for Tennessee.
Yeah, there was a big contingent of Vanderbilt fans that wanted Chadwell real bad.
That was my pick for Tennessee. On the record, like this is the guy that I want.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. But you can get plenty of those mid-major even
Okay, you do
FCS
have
kind
to
of
point
receivers
out
take 2 or
Velus
3.
Jones's quarterbacks he had throughout his
Right.
career in
That's
college
fair.
too, right?
It's to me like that guy not being used more at USC. Like, how do you not use that guy when you've got him in your room? Like, what was going on at that point in his career? That's the question I'm asking him if I'm going through the interview process with Velus Jones. Like, what worked at Tennessee that didn't work at Southern Cal? Because he flew across the country to go from Birmingham, where he grew up, back to California.
Right.
And then came back to the Southeast.
Yeah, that's why these GMs and they make so much money, because that draft evaluation process is so just difficult and painstaking, and you're trying to find these gems, and it might not be a guy that's great anywhere, but to fit your system.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't, okay, let's say the Titans don't find a pass catching tight end per se, there's other ways to get creative with personnel and that type of thing where you can find people to fill the middle of the field for you, run slot receivers and stuff like that. But you got to find somebody like where the Titans are right now. They have to hit in the draft this year on like a couple players.
Right.
They need a lineman, probably gonna need a tight end or receiver. They're gonna have to hit on a couple of spots for them to that championship door not to slam shut.
You can get creative. Well, that means Todd Downing has to get creative.
There it is.
I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there.
615-737-1045, the number if you want to jump in. Hey, when we come back, the Jacksonville Jaguars have done a very Jacksonville Jaguars thing. We're getting more details of a contract that they have handed out today. And this thing is ridiculous that the Jags have done. The overpay of the day so far goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll do that next. 3HL 1045 The Zone.
Did you know about 80% of new home buyers don't ever shop around for the best mortgage loan? That's a big mistake. Not all mortgages are created equal, and Loan Pronto can help you out. People who use Loan Pronto save on average $3,500 just in closing costs. Now, on top of that, they get a better rate, which can save them thousands more every year. Your banker or maybe your agent's go-to lender are fine, but just don't assume that they're giving you the best deal. You want to call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion, or you can go to loanpronto.com. That's what I did. Went to loanpronto.com, put all my paperwork in. It was super easy, and I bet they can help you get a better loan, a lower rate, and do it without all of those annoying closing costs. What have you got to lose? You compare costs on everything else in your life, so you might as well do the same with your mortgage, right? Loanpronto.com is where you need to go, and the phone number is 615-499-5780. Again, that's 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
3HL 104.5 The Zone, hanging out with you on this Monday. Forgot how to English there for a second. I did a thing for the first time over the weekend. Will Boling, Chris Williams, Don Davenport with you. I did something for the first time. I watched the time change from 1:59 to 3.
That's
on
weird.
Sunday.
Why would you do that?
Because I was going to the airport to go to Tampa for a 5 a.m. flight.
So what did your cell phone do?
So I had to set my alarm for 1:55. And then I woke up at 1:55, and as I was getting my stuff ready to leave, it switched to 3. It goes from 1:59, and instead of going to 2:00, it goes to 3:00.
Oh, that's so weird.
We would do this in high school because the state cross-country meet was always the time change weekend. It's always the first Saturday in November when the time changes back. And so we'd have like our end-of-year party, like drinking Mountain Dew and all this stupid stuff, there's a funny story about that.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Somebody
Going big.
That was like a viral challenge back then of like you could do a 2-liter Mountain Dew chug challenge.
Ugh, that makes me
That was like a
vomit.
viral thing. Yes, right. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That's right. And we would watch it change from 1:59 to 1 then. That was the same thing then.
Oh, because, yeah.
You ran cross country in high school?
Unfortunately.
Okay.
High school, college, the whole thing.
I'm getting the whole profile now.
That's right.
Track guy. He's a track guy.
That's
He's
why
like
also,
ESPN's
like,
track announcer now.
Yeah. Well, I got a fun trip coming up there. That's going to be
A little track trip.
going to Puerto Rico.
Ooh, heck yeah. See? We need to play some college football games
That's right.
somewhere.
So it's a cross country
In
trip
Italy.
to Puerto Rico?
It's an ESPN track meet that'll be on. I don't know if we're on ESPN or ESPN2 for that week.
Oh, okay.
but
I got you.
It's a track meet where they're doing this league I work with is doing in Puerto Rico, middle of May.
May,
first
that's a
time.
good time, right? To go to Puerto Rico.
I've got
Nice.
my friends, like my roommate was like, you need a spotter for that one.
Yeah. Bet you do.
Like I'm trying to take my
Volunteers
golf
for that
clubs
one.
down there. It's gonna be a fun time. I've never left the country either, so that's the closest I will have gotten.
Hey, speaking of golf clubs.
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
What?
I know what you're gonna say too, because I know you're not as excited about this as Brent and Slay are because of you don't want to spend time with Brent and Slay at a golf tournament.
It is not about that. It's not about that.
Well, you don't want to play golf with them because they're gonna like
100%. I do not want to play golf with those clowns.
I will volunteer as tribute to play in your spot.
There you go. Good. You can have it. Yeah. It's our spring golf classic.
Yes.
It's Monday, April 25th. It's at Old Natchez Country Club, which I love Old Natchez.
great course.
Yeah, good. Are you a golfer?
I play.
Okay. No, I feel you there. That's okay. We actually have tickets on sale right now at 1045thezone.com. And for the first time ever at our golf classic, you can add some of our hosts and our special guests to play with you. Keith Bullock, Titans wide receiver. I didn't know about this. Titans wide receiver, Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Oh, nice.
Yes, you can add him to your team, and all of the proceeds go to charity. So you can find out more at 1045thezone.com. Nobody ever tells me any of this stuff. I had no idea NWI was going to play.
I'm with you.
I think I had heard that Bully was going to play, but
No one's asked me to be a special guest to round out their group yet.
well,
but I'm
what
still
are I
waiting on
mean?
that
They
call.
are missing. You could get some heck of a insight into track
Thank you.
with bowling.
That's what
the
I have.
sales
To,
pitch
that's
right
what I
there.
have
That's
to
the
offer.
sales
That's it
right there.
That's it. You don't want to just just fun 24-year-old. No, it's just you're gonna get a lot of lost golf balls. You're gonna get to learn the trails around Old Natchez Country Club because I'm gonna be wading into them to try to find golf balls. That's the
I was
difference.
going to
had.
say, how's your game?
Well, I started playing 6 months ago.
That's it?
I'm
What?
5 lessons in. Yes.
You go to Brentwood Academy?
I
You
know.
born with golf clubs, didn't you?
I know.
Comes with the
My,
acceptance letter.
my sport was turning left and occasionally right. I have no hand-eye coordination whatsoever. But I've gotten better. I'll go walk Percy Warner after I get work done like most afternoons right now and just go walk 9 holes in like an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it's good. It's a good workout.
exercise,
It's very
yeah.
peaceful. The more I do a job that forces me to be extroverted, the more introverted I get. So I just have to get away from people and say, none of you talk to me for an hour and a half.
I get that. We used to go walk
we
McCabe
wonder
in
why
college.
he's single.
Yeah.
We go walk McCabe, right.
I don't even like talking to anybody. What's over here?
You need a dog.
I do.
That's right.
That's true.
I have 4. Would you like one?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Don't get dogs. Dogs are nothing but trainers for kids.
Well, I live
That's all it is.
in a very small apartment. I don't want to do that to a dog right now.
Yeah.
Well, I have horses too, but I don't think you can
Oh.
put them in apartments. So.
I've got a little balcony. Yeah, I don't know that would work very well. Real quick.
Might violate a code or two.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what the charge is for my building. I know what it is for dogs. I don't know what it would be for horses. Probably just multiply it by 5 or something. Hey, we were talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars doing Jaguars things.
Yes.
While we were in a break, they made another signing. But Christian Kirk is the first one. 4 years, $84 million.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations, A.J. Brown, on Christian Kirk getting 4 years, $84 million.
Right?
AJ Brown tweeted.
Yes, he did.
He just tweeted a GIF though.
And then Deebo Samuel tweeted at A.J. Brown with saying,
telling you,
boy,
they
and he
looking like-
retweeted it again.
If he's worth 84, that means I'm worth at least 100.
Yep. Exactly. Although
And,
that is that's such a Jags move, isn't it?
I'll tell you who's the angriest about this is Devontae Adams
Right.
because he got franchise tagged.
Yeah, I
And-
think didn't he say he's not going to play on there, right? I think he said that, right?
I believe so. Well, because he's got until July 15th
Yeah.
to continue negotiating a longer term deal. But I mean, 4 years, $84 million. The structure of this thing per Spot Track, 2022 cap hit is just $7.5 million, $37 million guaranteed at signing. And then the cap hit from 23 through 25 is $21.5 million. That doesn't make any sense that you would backload that kind of contract when you've got Trevor Lawrence on a rookie deal right now.
What's the guarantee on it?
$37 million.
Oh, so it's really just a 1 year, 2 year, really,
Right.
because they could dump him after 2 and save themselves 60. I mean,
Right.
It's a 2 year deal. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. He's never had a 1,000 yard season, 980 yards about last season. He was good in a contract year. Oh, when you got a lot of options in Arizona, but DeAndre Hopkins was not there for that later part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they were doubling. Well, they were paying a little more attention to him. They're not
Right.
doubling DeAndre Hopkins anymore.
Right.
It's a little different. you know?
Exactly.
A little bit different.
615-737-1045.
Who else receiving wise do you now have in Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, you got Evan Ingram. 1 year, $10 million. I believe $9 million could be up to 10 for him. $9 million deal that goes up to 10 with incentives. So that's a younger guy, free agent wise, and Evan Ingram is betting on himself to prove it and get a bigger deal either there or somewhere else in a year. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence is having a good little day.
Yeah, he picked up 2 weapons. Ingram's super talented, so hopefully he can get in there and gets catching balls. I mean, coming from New York, we don't really know what the deal with Daniel Jones is, and I think he had at least 2 coaches, maybe 3 up there. So I don't know. Jacksonville's, I mean, you know where their head's at. They're trying to put some weapons around Trevor
Right.
Lawrence, so we'll see how it works out.
And they've got a guard now, too, Brandon Scherf, coming over from the Washington Commanders, which still feels really weird to say that.
Just call him
There's
Washington.
the Washington football team. So they've got Cam Robinson. They've tagged Brandon Scherf, their left guard. Hello, Aiden Hutchinson. Welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to shake out, right?
Yeah, because you're not going to go get Evan Neal now because you got your guard. So, congratulations, Aiden Hutchinson. I hope you enjoy Jacksonville this time of year.
Scherf's a good player. I'm surprised he left Washington. I thought he retired there.
Yeah.
He don't have much left, though. I don't
Right.
think he has but a couple years left. And
I remember him he's the guy that blocked Derek Barnett at Tennessee in that Tax Slayer Bowl when Josh Dobbs and Tennessee were in the Tax Slayer Bowl in 2015. That was Brandon Scherf's last game at Iowa,
yeah.
2015.
I worked that game.
Yeah, really?
Mm-hmm.
I was there. I was a senior, Brentwood Academy. Down there. If you're counting at home.
And I feel
If you're counting at
old.
home, I think that's 2 Dawn eye rolls at me today for making her feel old. Coming up, we'll see if we can add on to it. 3HL 1045 The Zone.
Just talking to the boys in here about Zero Res and the Zero Res difference. I said, I have 4 dogs. I have a 21-month-old little girl, and I need clean carpets. So that's why I talk to you guys about Zero Res all the time. Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, because they provide insanely clean carpets, and they do it with just powered water. They alter the pH of water. That's how this works. So they don't have to use soap. There's no residue. There's no harsh chemicals, which means that they can clean and sanitize your surfaces without detergents, which makes your carpet stay cleaner longer and also makes your surfaces dry twice as fast. But the most important thing for me, too, is I get clean carpets and I get them safely for my family and my pets. You can do the same. And for the month of March, you can do the same for a great deal if you tell them that Dawn sent you from 3HL. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway for $109. They're also offering 15% off of air duct cleaning. Some restrictions may apply. Call my friends at Zero Res now, 615-535-9376, or book online at ZeroResNashville.com. That's Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. High interest rate credit cards starting to build up? Is it time to make some home remodeling projects a reality? Well, our average client received over $54,000 with a simple cash out refinance. What would you do with an extra $54,000? Let's get the process started today. Apply online at thehomeloanexpert.com.
Good afternoon. I am Joe Hunk, and the Tennessee Titans have been active in the legal tampering period that started earlier today. They have agreed to terms with Ben Jones, the center for the Titans, as he is going to be back on a 2-year deal worth $14 million. On the offensive line, as of right now, offensive lineman David Quisenberry will not be back. The Titans have not tendered him and said that they will not do so, but that doesn't mean that they're not considering bringing him back. The Titans have also signed tight end Jeff Swaim to a 1-year extension. If you do not know, Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause in his agreement with the Houston Texans. And a little bit later on tonight, he is going to be meeting with the New Orleans Saints as well as the Carolina Panthers. But there's one team he will not be meeting with, and that is the Indianapolis Colts, as Houston has declined the Colts' attempt to speak with Deshaun Watson. Houston is okay with trading Watson, just not inside the AFC South. And for all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to go visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans, and home to 3HL. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Third and final hour on a loaded Monday show. We are 3HL on 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty and Rod Slay are out. Myself, Will Boling. Chris Williams, 7-year NFL vet, former Vandy lineman, in alongside Don Davenport. Joe Hunk, our producer, as always. Or you can join us at 615-737-1045. Buck Reising will join the fold to complain about things in 25 minutes. We have fixed the clock in the studio, and I'm shocked to learn that Buck did not make a fit about this within like the first hour of his show that the clock wasn't right.
Do you think he even noticed?
I would hope so, given what he does for a living. Lots of free agent signings happening, but the big story in the last 5 minutes, we've been able to say this at the beginning of like every segment. There's a new big story every 5 minutes. This
Such
one
a
might
busy day.
This one might be one of the biggest ones. Adam Schefter reporting that the Houston Texans have declined Indianapolis's attempt to speak with Deshaun Watson. Houston, comfortable trading Watson, but not in the AFC South.
Thank goodness. It's good for the Titans. You don't want to see him.
Lovie Smith's nobody's fool, man. He ain't having it.
Thank you.
That should go without saying, right? That they wouldn't trade him within the AFC South. Like we've heard a lot of Aaron Rodgers, we've heard a lot of Russell Wilson from Titans fans, but
let's be honest, that the whole Deshaun Watson Texans thing has been bizarre.
It has.
Yeah, but with him not getting the criminal charges, that just let the that's going to unleash the whole thing. So, and I know Lovey, and he wants to get that to bed real fast.
Right.
If they're going to move him, get him moved and get it over with.
That's right. Did you play for him?
I did.
Okay. He drafted you.
Yeah.
Tell us more about him.
Oh, he's just a great guy. Like, Lovey's one of those guys that he'll have the schedule for the entire season, like through the Super Bowl, whether you play in the wild card or not. Like, he can give it to you at the beginning of the season.
Oh wow.
Super detailed. So it wasn't like Jeff Fisher per se, where you would get a sleep in Thursday or he'd throw you bones like, hey, come out late or whatever. Or we're going to start an hour late tomorrow. Lovey was extremely regimented as far as we did the same thing all the time, over and over. But it was consistent, so you knew what to expect. And he was like a soft-spoken guy. You never really heard him cuss. Just a good dude.
Wow.
It was a fun situation to get drafted into. Defensive guy.
Nice.
That seems like that kind of personality seems rare in the NFL.
Yeah, I get, it just, because he might not cuss, but there's some guys on the staff.
Oh, that's
that
true.
do, so.
That's when you surround yourself with assistants that like round out the other side of the personality that you don't have.
This ain't Vandy when I was there.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like, what the frap,
I love hearing those Bobby Johnson stories.
This ain't Bobby Johnson regime. This is, it's like, hey, he might not cuss, but that don't mean I don't. So.
This is again, you're going to roll your eyes.
Bobby Johnson is one of my favorite people ever, by the way.
You're going to roll your eyes so much at me when I say this, but like for a long time in my life, I was that guy where I would say like dag nabbit or like gosh darn it.
Oh, I don't mind.
I'm truly surprised.
Right? To go along with this sleepy tea.
I remember I had a teacher, high school that said that. I was like, oh, all right. That's my kind of guy.
I like Dag Nabbit.
Will
That's a good word.
Will you finish second? Dag nabbit. Get him next time.
That's you sound like the way Keith Bullock talked to me a couple weeks ago doing J. Martin Remote, and Keith would just shake his head and be like, Will. Like, my guy Will. We gotta do something about you, man.
You like the kids that go to school with my kids. That's who you're
Yeah, right. 615-737-1045. You can watch the show as well, 1045 The Zone TV. YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. And where Ron Slay has joined the YouTube chat for the first time today.
Slay, what are you doing? You are on vacation.
And Slay says hello. He sent 4 consecutive messages that have 9 orange emojis each.
Oh yeah, God. He's on fire.
And then he said, y'all take care of Big Chris.
He is on fire.
I already gave Tennessee their props.
You did?
You know, we're happy. Like I text Ramon yesterday. It's SEC versus everybody now. So
that's right.
You know, Tennessee, I got them in the Elite 8. So, you know, we'll see. I'm excited about it,
for that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing
Can we bring up the Ron Slay, Sister Jean hate? Because look at the bracket. I'm telling you, it could come back to bite, Mr. Slay.
Purgatory could come back to
get through
bite.
Loyola probably this Sweet 16.
Right?
So I don't, hey, if Sister Jean shows up, it could be bad news.
Sister Jean's going to be like,
I need a Tylenol.
I know. I told Slay, I'm like, when he said it on this show, do you have that by any chance, Hunk? Do you have
it's
just
on our
the,
YouTube
the
page.
beginning
Pull that up real quick.
part of Slay? I said, dude, you have just punched your ticket to hell.
Yeah, have you heard this?
No, I haven't.
You
Oh my
are
gosh.
talking bad about Sister Jean. And I said it then. I was like, watch. You're going to end up seeing
the ticket
them
to hell
again.
is them in the tournament.
Exactly.
So
You're
now
going to see them again in the
You got Ryan
NCAA
Slade
tournament.
giving Loyola bulletin board material.
Yep. Exactly.
Giving a nun bulletin board material.
Yeah,
this was Ron
This
Slay.
Vol for Life is ragging on our sister.
I got a bone to pick.
Here it is.
Should I pick it with her?
Hold on.
Okay.
With Sister Jean?
She's a 102-year-old
Slay,
nun.
are you trying to punch your ticket to hell?
Hey, listen, that's been punched. If it's I've been having a problem with her for about 4 years now.
I want to say it's like 5. How old is she? She's got to be like 110. She was on her last roll on that wheelchair at the last tournament.
That's where my problem
He's
grew.
going back to the Tennessee
That's
game
right.
with Illinois Chicago.
That's right.
Oh.
That's right.
I forgot.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was ugly.
I didn't. Let me tell you the problem that I got with Sister Jean.
Oh, here we go.
Now, I love her to death. Now, I'm going to tell her that right now. If you listen to Sister Jean, I love you. But for them to be able to roll Sister Jean out there courtside.
With her scarf.
Man, with a scarf and a Letterman jacket on like that, that's cheating. Now, I'm telling you, you coming down on Camarillo, NCAA, y'all got to come down on Loyola Chicago.
Oh, Loyola Chicago.
Oh, here we go.
No, that's flat out cheating, man. That, like, who can beat them when she's sitting right there looking all pure and innocent, man? Like, come on, man.
She's God's partner.
Yeah, man, and then she claps her little hands and ain't even loud. Like, it's just like you putting them together.
It ain't
It's magic.
even loud. And she
Right.
gave the pregame speech.
That's wrong. That's dead wrong. That's like us let's have a priest come in and give us a speech every game. Everybody gonna win. The games are they'll always go on. We talk about how long games are because of the replay. Put a priest in every locker room. Watch how long the games are. Nobody lose.
Oh my God.
Nobody
there
lose.
a priest in every locker room?
No,
Yeah.
it's a chaplain or someone like
All
spiritual.
right, that's enough. But
There you go.
you get the
Oh my
point.
God.
like, seriously, Ron Slay went after Sister
I'm
Jean.
trying to cover
and then
my camera so I don't go to hell for laughing. You know,
Right.
It'll be on the record. Man, I can tell you as someone who was pure and innocent, is pure and innocent for both my life, that's not ever helped me in Tennessee's fortunes. So works for Sister Jean.
there you go. Yeah. So what? There could be a. So what's the bracket? It could be a Sweet 16.
They would have to beat Ohio State
Right.
and Villanova.
Who's on upset alert? I don't know if they get by Nova, but
No.
I think they'll beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nova might be a tough one, but hey,
Well, they don't have Porter Moser anymore either. They might have Sister Jean,
they
but
still
they don't
have
have the
Sister
same
Jean
head
though.
coach.
She's
Porter Moser,
102
that's true.
now.
But they don't need Porter Moser, apparently. It's Sister Jean.
I mean, according to Ron Slay, they're
have the
cheating with
Lord.
Sister Jean.
I mean,
anyway.
hey, there's this thing on Twitter where you go to if you just beat a team, like Tennessee beat Kentucky, you go to that team's like Twitter account and reply to them, and like there's all these like memes and things. And there's one of my favorites for Tennessee that there's a picture of Rick Barnes. And it says, you just got beat by Deacon Rick Barnes. He beat the hell out of you, but he hopes you go to heaven.
I was going to say,
Deacon Rick Barnes against Sister Jean. That's the Holy Spirit is moving in that matchup.
No doubt.
We'll see.
I thought
Maybe.
I thought Rick Barnes' comments were pretty telling. Also, after their seating came out.
Let's do this after the break, and that's a good segue too, Dawn, into what the heck is going on with the coaching carousel in SEC basketball right now too, because we got one move across enemy lines. We've got Kentucky defending Tennessee defending Texas A&M after the SEC tournament. Let's run through all of those stories because there's a lot to catch up on, and Rick Barnes echoes John Calipari's comments, something to unite Tennessee and Kentucky fans. There's one thing. Coming up next, 3HL 1045 The Zone.
The home loan expert just had an amazing contest out there against the corporate lenders, 93-19. Now, Coach, what are your thoughts?
Today we put it all on the court. Great work, great loan options. All that hard work paid off for us.
Darius, amazing performance. You were getting rates that nobody else could touch. How'd you do it?
Honestly, we're really coming together as a team, and our process is always streamlined. That's why we take 21 days to close.
Coach, any final thoughts?
Go with the lender who's outplaying the rest. Get started today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
3HL 104.5 The Zone. This is good stuff right here.
Also got this on CD.
So do I.
The one CD I have in my car right now, this is embarrassing. In Sync, No Strings Attached.
Oh my gosh,
It's the
why would
one
you
CD.
even admit that?
It's because it's a great album.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What's bad is I know what songs are on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What? Who the heck are we working with, Chris?
True.
Will Boling, Don Davenport, Chris Williams back with you.
Who are we working with?
I just got here.
Oh my God.
No, it's because I have a sister who was born in
okay,
1987.
Whatever excuses you
throw your
want to
sister under
pull
the
out.
She was like, we were like cleaning out my parents' house when we moved, and was like, oh, there's this NSYNC CD. I was like, oh, I'll take it. It's a great CD.
Again, and you wonder why he's single.
Hey, just waiting for the right moment.
Right. Hey, by the way, the right moment to fill out your bracket and join in this $1 million bracket thing we have going on is right now.
That's right.
It's 104.5 The Zone's $1 Million Bracket Challenge, sponsored by thehomeloanexpert.com and HeroLoan.com. A chance to win $1 million, hence the $1 Million Bracket Challenge. What do you have to do? It's a local contest, by the way. 1045thezone.com is where you register. Bracket prediction for all 63 games in the tourney for a chance to win.
One thing we have not talked about yet, we're going to hear from Rick Barnes and what he had to say today about the SEC tournament and conference tournaments. But we've got the Battle of Nashville going on tomorrow. The NIT.
Ah, yes. We should have
Belmont
Casey
Vanderbilt.
Alexander on tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Reminds me, I need to
That's going to
schedule
be
that.
like,
How you feeling about that one?
You know, it's just like a lose-lose for us at this point. You know, it's just put us out of our misery for the year. We made a good run in the tournament.
They did.
I mean, it'll be exciting, to play Belmont here and at home. And I'm sure, Coach Stackhouse said he's excited for the opportunity to play. And they wanted to play, but it's just with the injuries and stuff. I mean, they're playing well. Robinson's back, and Scotty didn't play great the last game. But I don't know, man. It just seems like a trap game for us. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because Belmont will probably be way more into it than Vanderbilt will, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just honestly, I don't even really understand the NIT. It's like, I'm like, we ain't going to the big dance. I'm going home. Like,
You're not a participation trophy guy, are you?
Yeah, like, man, let's play in the NIT. Like, no. Because, I mean, I'm assuming Scotty's playing, but if he's going to the draft, maybe he won't play. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right.
I guess there's some purpose to it. But
I remember in 2012, Tennessee played MTSU, first round of the NIT. That was an MTSU win in the first round.
Who won the NIT last year?
Last year with Memphis.
Oh.
How do you know that?
It's my job to monitor and be disgusted about whatever Memphis does.
Because he hates Memphis. That's
He
why
hates
knows what
Memphis, yeah.
did.
Well, then again, though, the one before that was Lipscomb. So the state of Tennessee has won the last two NITs because it didn't happen in 2020.
Maybe it's our year then. Maybe it's
Or Belmont's
Or Belmont's here.
No, it's I hadn't thought about that. The state of Tennessee had won the last two NITs.
the winner of the NIT is playing tomorrow night at Vanderbilt.
Book
So,
it. Do we have Alan Bell tomorrow?
Yes.
What's the odds on
We need to
Vanderbilt?
ask the futures odds on Vanderbilt
What's
or
the future
Belmont to
of
win the NIT.
There we go.
Right?
Oh, hey, AB will bring
I
him.
was going to say, he probably knows it.
We're the only show in the country that's asking NIT prop odds.
That is true.
So Rick Barnes had an interesting quote today because Tennessee wins the SEC tournament. They still are a 3 seed. Chris Lowe talked about this in hour one about Tennessee and not moving going into the NCAA tournament. This is what Rick Barnes had to say. Like, let's just go ahead and get rid of the SEC tournament.
When you look at it, to answer your question, everybody said that we were a 3 seed going into the SEC tournament, so it doesn't look like the tournament helped us. Certainly I don't understand a team in the SEC that wins 12 games like Texas A&M and playing great basketball at the end, not being in the tournament. It just baffles me. It really does. And if that's the way it's going to be, if the conference tournaments doesn't mean anything, and if the teams that are already slotted to be in the tournament can't improve their seeding, we should stay at home and let the teams that are trying to get in the tournament fight for that one bid to give our league a chance to get more. So those are the questions I think that should really be asked and answered.
It's a good point. And Tennessee had their star point guard who ended up being the tournament MVP playing on a hurt ankle on Friday. He gutted through it. He kept playing, but in an alternate world where Kennedy Chandler hurts his ankle and, tests it out and it doesn't work out for Tennessee, then you're talking about a very different Tennessee team going into the NCAA tournament. Why should these teams push themselves to win a trophy that now has no bearing on what's next?
Okay, but along those lines, you're also an SEC champion. You get to cut down the nets at the end of a tournament.
Without a doubt.
You can't act like that doesn't matter. Rick Barnes can't act like that doesn't matter. That the only reason it's a big deal is if it affects his seed.
Right.
I mean, well, he might be able to act like that because this is the first conference championship he's won. So maybe he does want to act like that. But do you know what I mean? It means something to win a championship.
Yeah.
To be the champion of the SEC tournament. I get what he's saying, and he's right. It's bunk, but they should have been a 2 seed, but you can't tell me that you don't care about winning a tournament championship.
Well, there's all these recruiting milestones that are built into college sports. It's only one team's going to win the NCAA tournament, but were you regular season SEC or whatever your conference is champion, were you the tournament champion? They hang banners for all this stuff. So banners and rings and all this type of
Rick Barnes made $800,000 in bonuses the last 48 hours on top of it. So
yes, it ain't all bad. That's for sure. I think this was directly a response to their seeding and his kind of disgust or whatever with how they were seeded. And rightfully so. He's got a case there, but obviously the tournaments mean something.
Right.
And it tunes them up getting ready for the tournament, and it allows them to, even if the committee doesn't take into account as far as people that watch it and betting and stuff, they're watching these teams and see who's hot, who's not, who's playing well.
Right.
So, it ain't all bad.
I think it depends on the year. And this specific Tennessee team had not proven yet that they could play the same style outside of Thompson-Boling Arena that they do inside Thompson-Boling Arena and beat good teams.
Yeah.
And they did that 2 times. Mississippi State's okay. They beat a really good Kentucky team, and they beat an A&M team that was playing as well as anybody in college basketball. So that, to me, was the important part. And talking to some of my friends, my roommate's an Auburn grad, and he was like, I couldn't care less what they do. I know how good that team is in the SEC tournament. We just won one a couple years ago.
But here's my thing, too, from a mental confidence as a team, knowing that you're heading into the tournament in a really good place, knowing that you're firing on all cylinders, knowing that the chemistry and the rhythm and all of that is there. I think there's something to be said for that. Auburn, what they've done the last couple of games, I'm concerned. With what they've put on the court. Are you telling me that you're just going to be able to hop into the tournament and flip the switch? Because that doesn't necessarily work. And it's funny, we talk about it sometimes in the NFL towards the end of the season, if you're a team that's been completely solid and then all of a sudden you rest your starters because it doesn't matter what's going on the last weekend or the last 2 games, and then you come out flat when it's go time because you haven't played. So I don't know. I think there's something to be said for winning a tournament, firing on all cylinders, and playing really good ball at the end of the season.
Let's go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, where this guy was going through it over the weekend. You felt
I'm
like
married
us.
to an Indiana grad. Trust me, I know this firsthand. How are you, Buck?
My girlfriend had to do a wellness check on me because I was screaming. I was screaming in my bedroom alone, me and one of the cats. It was deeply problematic. I hate Jordan Bohannon. He's been in college for 57 years. Send him into the sun. He's been doing that. I almost cussed. He's been doing that to my team for 7 damn years in the Big Ten. I hate him. Get him out of my life.
That was an unbelievable finish.
Jordan Bohannon for
No, it was trash. Not unbelievable. What do you mean unbelievable? That's trash, dog.
Speaking of teams playing good.
Jordan Bohannon played for Iowa when I was in college at Tennessee, and they took Tennessee to overtime before the Carson Edwards non-foul beat Tennessee in the Sweet 16. Yeah. Jordan Bohannon was at Iowa when I was in
He
school.
really has been there 7 years.
A long time.
7 years. No, I swear to God, I'm not just being dramatic. 7 years.
Him and John Fulkerson helped pick the ball out of the peach baskets with James Naismith at the beginning of the game of college basketball.
Oh, Buck. Hey, but you guys are in the tourney, even though you play on Tuesday.
I don't want them in the tournament. Dawn, why do I want them in the tournament? I don't want them anywhere near the tournament. Why? So I can do this again? I don't want to do this for another week. I
We
don't
want
to
them in
live
the
this way.
tournament because you do this again. Absolutely.
Buck wanted their season to be over with 2 weeks ago.
You did. I did hear you say that. Just end it now.
All right, Buck,
Unbelievable.
let's get back to some of the NFL headlines that we've spent a lot of time on. There's a lot to discuss, but starting from the Titans' perspective, Ben Jones coming back on a 2-year deal. What did you think of the price? What surprised you? What do you like about this for the Titans as they bring back Ryan Tannehill's center?
I heard they were pretty far apart, as recently as last week. I'm glad that they were able to find agreement because he's probably the second most important player on the football team, which sounds ridiculous to say, but there is such an incredible value at that position. Anybody who's been around offensive linemen or, frankly, quarterbacks will tell you that the center is invaluable, and Ben Jones is incredibly dependable. He's missed a few snaps here and there, but it's been so rare that he's flat out missed starts, and he's still playing at a high level. So for basically half the cost of what Jason Kelsey is going back to Philadelphia for, I think that's right on the money. And I'm curious to see the details once they come out as far as how this is basically structured and what his first-year cap hit is, because I imagine they did it in a way that was 2022 friendly to allow them to hit free agency a little harder this year.
Buck, the other thing that's kind of interesting about this offensive line, David Quesenberry reportedly not coming back. Then the report surfaces that there's a chance they could try to restructure kind of a different price there. We made the point earlier in the show that it seems like they seem confident that Dylan Radins can start for them either at left guard or at right tackle. What do you think these moves say about the future for him, either on the outside or filling in for Roger Saffold, who's now off to Buffalo?
Sink or swim. I mean, he's a second-round pick. You're probably going to invest another high-round draft pick, and given the fact that you don't have a second-round draft pick, that gets a little more tenuous, but you're going to take another offensive lineman relatively early. So this developmental project needs to be as close to ready as humanly possible because he's going to have to play one of those two positions. I wouldn't be shocked to see them, and we're far away from things like OTAs and training camps and things of that nature, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them give him some work at right tackle, but ultimately he's a left side player. He played exclusively left tackle at North Dakota State. It would be more comfortable to slot him in next to Taylor Lewan in place of Roger Saffold this year.
So, Buck, Tom Brady is back. His center is back. And we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars giving Christian Kirk just millions and millions and millions of dollars. What the heck is going on in the state of Florida with these NFL teams?
I mean, bad teams overspend, right? Like, if this is the whole thing that we're going to see in this year particularly, because I assume you guys saw the idea that Indianapolis requested to speak to Deshaun Watson and the Texans summarily shut it down, because if you don't have a quarterback this year, you're banged. Like, if you are trying to recruit free agents, the first question is, who's your quarterback? How much can you help me win? If we're not going to win, how much more can you pay me than the other team to lose, basically, which is what teams like Jackson, I mean, Tennessee's done this in previous years when they were down bad as a franchise. This is, I mean, honestly, if I'm A.J. Brown, I'm rubbing my hands together vigorously for when my contract comes up, because he should ask for damn near $10 million more out the gate. Christian Kirk's never had a 1,000-yard season, and he's getting this kind of money in Jacksonville, because Jacksonville's a rebuild and players don't want to go for a rebuild unless you're going to compensate them. I mean, Malik Jackson was one of the first players that I remember being so publicly honest about this, being like, yeah, I had the opportunity to make generational wealth coming off that Broncos Super Bowl team. Let me go to Jacksonville and get paid, and yeah, we'll make an AFC championship game run with Blake Bortles, but the rest of the time we're just going to coast, and I'm going to sit on my pile of money while we do it.
Where are the Titans cap-wise with some of the moves? I haven't sat down and gone through it.
So with Ben Jones, they're going to be about $5 to $6 million over. Again, the structure is what we're kind of waiting to see. But prior to agreeing to terms with Ben and this swing tackle that they've brought in from Seattle, they're going to be between $5 and $6 million over the cap. So there's still moves that need to be made prior to Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time if they're really going to get in on the hunt in this thing. And guys, honestly, the thing that I'm most curious about is Jackrabbit Jenkins makes all the sense in the world for the $7 million that you save on him if you cut him, but
why hasn't it happened yet?
Why hasn't it happened?
Yeah.
You know, like why? What are we waiting for? Other than, you know, the young secondary isn't in a place quite where you need it to be, or you value him so much that you're looking at ways to kind of rework a cap-friendly deal for Jackrabbit. It's been pretty quiet on both sides as far as digging is concerned. So I'm fascinated to see what plays out here in the next couple of, potentially hours, much less days.
Buck, sorry.
Go ahead.
Hey, it's Chris Williams here, Buck. I have a question as far as the Titans in their cap. What else is a priority for them in free agency and the draft as far as what do they need to address? They locked up Jones for another year or two, and they got the swing tackle, but it seems like they need a receiver, a tight end, or something. What are you hearing or seeing that they need?
Well, they're going to prioritize tight end, and you guys saw that they brought back Jeff Swaim, who was the most productive of the three who are now unrestricted free agents, Ferkser, Michael Pruitt, and now Swaim returning on a one-year deal. They're going to have to add another veteran and, frankly, a draft pick at that position. And given the fact that, again, they don't have a second-round pick, I think it makes a ton of sense to trade out and try and, recoup some of your draft capital, given that the positions of need, honestly, pass catchers at both tight end and wide receiver and interior offensive line, some guys that tackle at the top of the draft, depending on if you stick at 26 or not. But, I wouldn't be mad at them if they took a tight end, a wide receiver, and a couple of offensive linemen because, I love Ben. They love Ben. They felt it a priority to bring Ben back. But, again, he's 32, and at some point that's going to physically erode on him, even if he's loath to show that on the field.
Oh, that Isaiah pick. Still coming back to haunt, huh?
He's chilling somewhere. I'm anxiously awaiting his next EP. I miss the Panda. He was a very exciting point of my life. He kept me entertained during the pandemic season because that was the only kind of reporting I could do was, how many different car wrecks is he going to get into this week?
Oh, my gosh.
Dark. Buck Reising has been our guest here on 3HL. Buck, go research your first 4 game. We'll talk to you soon.
I don't want to talk about St. Mary's. They stink. They're going to kill Indiana out of the gate. I don't even know why. Wyoming could beat them, and I would be happy. I hope Wyoming beats Indiana. I don't want to live this way anymore.
This is a similarity between you and Ron Slay. He hates a Saint and Sister Jean, and you hate St. Mary's.
Well, listen, I'm not actively advocating for the unseating of a 104-year-old nun, but also, I'm kind of down if she gets in my way. Me and Slay can unite on that front, and we'll take on the power of Sister Jean together and probably feel our skin sizzle a little bit while we do it.
Y'all are all going to hell.
Oh, Lord. Thank you, Buck.
That's right. Company's better back down there, Dawn. I'll see you later.
Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye, Buck.
Goodbye, friends.
Buck Reising, 10-1 on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up next, a breaking story about Tennessee basketball that Vols fans are not going to like. Plus, we'll take one last look at the phones, get you a little bit closer to your end of your day, into the Monday. Fun show with you. We'll wrap it up next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. 3HL 1045 The Zone. I've been listening to this kind of music every day since the Super Bowl halftime show. Big Eminem guy. Huge. Will Boling, Don Davenport, Chris Williams with you for one final segment. Tennessee fans going to be losing likely another assistant coach from their basketball staff. Mike Schwartz, the guy who is known as Tennessee's defensive coordinator in basketball. A defense that is a top 10 defense, maybe top 5 defense in college basketball, on the verge of being the next head coach at East Carolina. East Carolina, a program that has John Gilbert, their athletic director. This from Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News-Sentinel. He was at Tennessee when Barnes was hired, and his son, Kent, is a walk-on at Tennessee. So lots of Tennessee ties with John Gilbert and ECU and Mike Schwartz. Now the fourth Rick Barnes assistant from his Tennessee time, who is now a head coach.
Hey, that's a sign of a great program.
Yeah.
Great staff. I mean, that seems to be the MO up there. So Rick Barnes is doing his job. He's hiring the right people.
Yeah.
You know.
You've got Des Oliver at ETSU. You've got Rob Lanier at Georgia State. Kim English at George Mason. And now Mike Schwartz reportedly at ECU. Let's go to the phones real quick. Check in with Stark. Calling in here in our final segment. What's going on, Stark?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Chris, Don, I'm a War Eagle as well.
War Eagle.
So I'm just curious. Let's think about this out loud for a minute, okay? Because we talk about seeding real quick. So you play a whole entire basketball season, and you win the conference tournament, and you're not guaranteed a spot in the tournament, and then you have people that played a 4-game tournament, and they're mad about their seeding. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question.
Well, then, but
if
that's
on a neutral court, like, does that really, like, so you're going to be upset because for example, I'm an Oliver fan, so don't get me wrong, but they won their conference. They don't even get an automatic bid unless they win their 4-game tournament in a neutral site. Like, to me, the whole setup makes no sense. It's all about money. You know that. The tournament's about money.
well, and if that's the case, then why even have it? I mean, that's
well, because it's about money.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, Stark. I think the point I would make to that is that if the national championship is decided based on a bracket-style tournament, then who gets into that tournament should be decided in a similar way. Like, that's how you've decided that championships are going to be handed out in this sport. So the conference tournament is the way that you decide who gets to the second step of that process.
And here's the other thing. It's still big picture of what have you done too. And clearly maybe this year the actual tournament didn't play into it a ton, into the selection committee's choices a ton, but it's also the chance for those that have had injuries or hurdles or struggles throughout the year to make their resume look better on top of it. You know, like Tennessee as a 2 or 3, does it really matter?
It doesn't make a huge difference.
At the end of the day, does a 2 or a 3 seed really matter all that much?
But it's just a tune-up for one. But then you have teams that are trying to play themselves into the tournament. Like Texas A&M is 1 game away from being in the tournament, and somebody else, maybe Michigan, being out. You know,
right?
So it's. You know, it serves a purpose. Yeah, everything's about money, but it serves a purpose. You got all these teams like us Vanderbilt fans. We had a chance. We were like, hey, we got a chance at this thing too. You know, we caught Kentucky, but it's all just part of the process of like, hey, let's tune this thing up, get ready for a tournament style. Let's get ready for it. You lose a game, you go home. You know, and that's essentially what you're getting ready for.
Win or go home.
I'll never forget that 2008 SEC tournament with the tornado over the Georgia Dome. In Georgia
played 4 games in 4 days.
Georgia, again, in front of like 20 people at Georgia Tech, won that tournament.
It's like friends and family.
Yeah.
That was all that they were playing on Georgia Tech's
COVID
campus.
style.
Yeah, that's true. My brother was working in SEC, or was working in television in Knoxville at the time, and was like, I covered the whole year of games, and then I couldn't go to the conference semifinal for Tennessee against Arkansas.
Hey, how about Georgia, by the way? Mike White. They hire Mike White. Mike White is like, hey, Florida, peace out.
It's crazy. He's made an Elite Eight.
going in conference.
Yeah.
Going to the other side of the cocktail party.
That's right.
I mean, that's like that's a dangerous jump right there.
My takeaway from that's bad news for the rest of the SEC. Not because Georgia gets better, but because Florida is about to get a lot better.
Yeah.
Michael, that is an easy place to win in basketball. That's
What,
easy.
who, Florida?
Yeah.
And Georgia can't get worse, so.
Right. Like that's bad news because Florida's not in a bad spot. Like they didn't make the tournament this year, but it's not like they're, in Georgia's spot. Like it's not like they have got a ton of NCAA violations with the Will Wade stuff, which we didn't even get to today. Because that's no one wants to go to LSU, but Florida will be a very attractive job.
Right.
I mean, a coach left that place in okay shape. I mean, they were the 8th seed in the SEC tournament.
Such a weird jump, though.
It's a really weird jump. Well, I think he saw the writing on the wall.
It's got to be more there because I'm going to leave Florida and go to Georgia.
Right.
Like, I'm not even
where I have to build
conference. I'm going the same division. I'm just going, right up the road. I don't know. That's strange. You'd think that'd almost be illegal, but I guess not. Yeah. So.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of when Konzo Martin left Tennessee for Cal and said, if these guys want to put me on the hot seat when I've got them to, NCAA tournaments and made runs with this team, then I'm out. I'm going to go somewhere where I'm appreciated.
I'm sure
I wouldn't be surprised he comes around again pretty quick as a head coach.
Who, Konzo?
Yeah.
He by the way, Missouri just let him go. There's a lot of openings in the SEC.
Yeah.
South Carolina parting ways with Frank Martin today. It's been a fun show. Chris, this was a good time, man.
Yeah, this is all. It's golly, time's apart.
There it
is. It's been great.
I
had a blast.
I was worried we were going to have a group therapy session because Freddie Freeman is not going to be a Brave. Matt Olson is going to be a Brave. Joe Hunk, your thoughts on the way out?
Oh, hurts my heart. By the way, anybody's listening, Olson is a better version of Freddie Freeman.
He's literally better.
He is.
Makes $12 million instead of $30 million.
Mm-hmm. And
had 111 RBIs last year.
He had 39 home runs last year in Oakland, which is a horrible.
In a pitcher's park.
It's a pitcher's park. It's a horrible hitting ballpark.
But it's Freddie Freeman. He is Atlanta Brave.
GMs are unemotional sons of guns.
It again hurts
it's
my
a business.
heart. It hurts my heart.
We're out of time. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Back at it tomorrow. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.